Welcome to Films from the Phantom Zone, your podcast about failed and forgotten comic book movies. I'm your host, my name is Arnaldo, and next to me, as always, is my co-host,
Berto.
And we're doing a review, our second review, because during COVID, obviously, we're not getting a whole lot of cool movies, and so we decided, well, there's no way we can watch these movies and not talk about them. So we're doing a review on, Berto?
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That's right. So if you've been keeping up, you know that we did bonus episodes on Man of Steel. That was guest starring a good friend of mine, Chris, from the Assembly Required podcast, and Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. That was building up to this. We were super excited about Zack Snyder's Justice League. We were going to do a regular episode on the 2017 Justice League, but as soon as we finished watching Man of Steel, or not Man of Steel, BVS, we looked at each other and we're like, we can't do that.
Yeah, we don't want to tarnish it before.
Like, we want to go straight into this because it's one complete vision, right?
Yeah, like see the story arc to, well, not quite the end, but as far as we can possibly take it, which is these three movies.
Yeah. So, Zack Snyder's Justice League, if you don't know, we've mentioned it before, but I feel as if we got to say it one more time, what this is. Because I feel like, have you, like, talk about this movie with, like, normal people? Like, not nerds?
Yeah, I talked to it with a couple of coworkers at work, and they're like, I thought that movie, like, already came out.
Exactly.
Or they think it's, like, a sequel or something. Because all they know is new Justice League movie.
Yeah.
That's all they know.
It's just one of those things that you have to have kind of like your ears close to the ground in order to know what's going on. A friend of mine texted me because I think he listens to the show every now and then. And he was like, what is this? What do I do? Because I've never seen any of these movies.
What do I do?
And I was like, okay, well, watch Man of Steel, watch Batman vs. Superman. If you want,
Wonder Woman.
We talked about it. You want, yeah, exactly. But don't watch that one. And I told him what this is. So basically, this is a director's cut of the movie Justice League, which came out in 2017.
This is a little different from a normal director's cut, though, because the theatrical movie that we got wasn't really the director's movie at all.
Exactly. Zack Snyder, he directed Man of Steel, which is the Superman movie, and Batman vs. Superman, its sequel. At that point, this was already written and ready to go, Justice League. They start filming Justice League as Batman vs. Superman is coming out. We said there's a very quick turnaround for those two movies. They're essentially almost filmed back to back. So by the time the negative reviews for Batman vs. Superman are coming out, and they're already filming this movie, the studio gets kind of involved.
Which is funny because it seemed like a lot of the issues with the last movie were because of the
studio getting involved. Yeah. And there's a couple more of this happening where DC is fixing problems that they caused in the first place.
A lot of it's like self-fulfilling prophecy type shit.
Yeah. There's another case of that we're going to get into, but they bring in a couple producers to basically babysit Zack Snyder during the filming of this movie to make sure he doesn't get wild, right? And then they also bring in Jeff Johns, who is like this decorated DC comic book writer, right? And by all means, should be a really smart guy. And these guys basically start pulling the movie away from Zack Snyder. Then they bring in Joss Whedon, who's the director of, I mean, he did Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he did other TV show.
He's got quite a bit of a nerd credit under his belt.
And then Avengers. He was the director of Avengers 1 and 2.
I remember when the news came out for that, it didn't necessarily sound like it was bad news.
Okay, so by the time we heard about it, it was later on. This is kind of in secret, and this happens more often than you think. Star Wars does this a lot, actually, where they bring in a different director secretly to fix the movie. And he's uncredited, it's all under the table, and you never hear about it. But they did it on Rogue One. Gareth Edwards didn't actually finish that movie. They brought in somebody else. But they made him carry it into like promotions and stuff. Yeah, exactly. So they bring in Joss Whedon, and Joss Whedon wants to do things a little bit differently. Jeff Johns is writing new pages to film, and Zack Snyder's, by all accounts, a really nice guy. And so he's kind of allowing this to happen.
He's like, all right, if this is what's best.
Exactly. But then his eldest daughter commits suicide, and that kind of obviously changes everything.
Yeah.
What's really shitty, and I remember this happening, is that WB doesn't offer to like delay the film. And there's plenty of time to delay. Again, this movie would have come out months after Wonder Woman and a year and a half after Batman vs. Superman. So I feel like there was plenty of room there to say, let's pause the movie. Like, the guy who made our last two movies is going through probably the worst tragedy a person could go through. It's like your kid dying.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially to suicide. Like, that might be the worst tragedy there is. You would think that they'd be like, let's give this guy some time and then figure out what we're going to do about the movie. But they're like, no, movie's not stopping.
They're like, all right, he's out.
Yeah, and to be fair, they kept working, Zack Snyder and his wife. But at that point, they kind of lost the will to keep fighting.
And then that's when he decided to step away.
He decided to step away.
But what the news framed it as, and I remember like, oh, Zack Snyder steps away after daughter commits suicide. It had they didn't mention anything about like what was actually going on here.
Right. That's stuff we didn't know.
Like,
and
we didn't know he was getting like boxed out by the studio.
Exactly.
We thought he did this on his own.
The shittiest part is that, like, for WB, Zack Snyder's daughter committing suicide in their eyes is basically a blessing in disguise. And that's really gross.
Yeah.
You know, because that's kind of what they wanted. They wanted him out. Let's be for real. Like, you don't bring in a new director and start rewriting things on the spot because you trust the guy making your movie.
Right.
It's because you want him gone. And so this happening, like, I always got the impression that they kind of like pushed him out the door. Like, I think you need time on your own. Get out, you know? And that's really shitty.
It is.
That's one of the reasons why this movie's kind of a big deal, because, and you can love or hate Zack Snyder, but at the end of the day, he's just a guy working a job.
Yeah.
And making a project. Like, I know we put a lot of, like, thought and a lot of, like, stock into these movies because we're fucking nerds.
Right.
And for us, like, Star Wars and Marvel and DC are, like, the most important things in the world.
Yeah.
But, like, this is a workplace and this is a man and a family going through tragedy, and it's, like, it's a job. And we shouldn't forget that, you know? And I feel like people forget that sometimes.
And there are things more important than work, obviously.
Exactly. So they leave, and they framed it as, we're getting Joss Whedon to finish the movie for him. And I remember them saying that that Snyder had picked Whedon, and that was completely fabricated. Snyder confirmed that. He's like, I know he was already there. You know,
I didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of finishing the movie, which was already completely shot, they rewrite and reshoot essentially the entire movie.
And decided to waste a bunch of money.
Yeah, most expensive movie to date is Justice League. It cost about $350 million. I think before that, the most expensive movie was like one of the Pirates of the Caribbeans or something like that.
I thought Solo was kind of high up there too.
Well, Solo was a similar situation where they fire the directors and they
remade
redo it.
Almost the whole movie.
Right, but they also did it more efficiently than this.
Yes. They caught the issues a little earlier.
Yeah. By the time the movie comes out, it was fine, and most people said, it's kind of bad. Like, it has no punch.
No.
It has no pizzazz.
It exists.
It's a movie. And which is like the worst thing it can be, is like, it's just a movie we saw and we forgot about.
I think people forgot about it within the year.
Yeah. And it made DC kind of like rethink their entire slate. They canceled a bunch of movies they had lined up. They canceled sequels to Justice League. Then the internet gets involved, right? Slowly, internet sleuths start piecing together certain things. Like, you can tell which shots don't belong because they're filmed differently. They're lit differently. They're colored differently. I think they might have used different cameras.
It was like a Frankenstein of a movie.
Yeah, exactly. So you can, if you look close enough to a trained eye, you can pick which shots are Joss Whedon's and which shots are Zack Snyder's. Also, they have very different styles. From there, people start realizing how much was reshot. And then actors started kind of like saying like, oh no, like it lasted for a long time.
Yeah, it's like reshoots do happen a lot, but not to this extent.
Exactly.
Where they're basically reshooting a movie.
Exactly. And then every now and then Zack Snyder would say like, I had this in the movie, and he would drop like a nugget of information or like a picture or a concept on the internet.
I was happy to see that the scenes that I did like from the theatrical version ended up being Zack Snyder scenes.
Yeah, they were, exactly. And it's going to be hard, but I want to try my best to avoid talking about that movie because we're going to talk about it next week.
Right.
We're trying to focus on just this product, and it's going to be hard because there's going to be comparisons made. And if you don't know, if you've never seen that movie, those reshoots came with a bunch of problems. Number one, Ben Affleck didn't want to do them because he was going through a messy divorce with Jennifer Garner. He was at the peak of his alcoholism. He was months before checking himself into rehab.
He was a little chunky.
And he got, yeah. And that's the other thing. He was a little bit chunkier, and you can tell it in his face. Also, very infamously, Henry Cavill was shooting Mission Impossible and had to have a mustache for that movie.
I remember hearing about this. and in his contract he was not allowed to shave his mustache.
So they had to film him with the mustache on and then try to CGI it off.
Was Mission Impossible also a WB movie?
No.
Okay.
And that's why.
All right.
WB offered to pay for the CGI to put the mustache on in their movie.
I feel like that would have been
easier.
Yeah.
It's easier to CGI facial hair on than it is to take it off. And I forget what studio it is.
Paramount?
Yes, Paramount.
Okay, Paramount.
Yes. All right. And they were like, absolutely not. That's not happening. Under no circumstances does he shave his mustache. And the results are horrifying.
It's kind of a funny stipulation.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, obviously they don't want their movie ruined because of this bullshit.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, we're going to talk about it a lot next week when we have to look at that face. It looks horrible. And obviously Henry Cavill's a very handsome man. And he looks horrifying. He looks like he got all his wisdom teeth taken out. And actually all his teeth taken out all at once. His face is super puffy. The hashtag ReleasetheSnyderCut takes place. People put money into it. They raised a ton of money. They got a poster on Times Square. They would get posters or billboards. They would get billboards out for Comic Cons.
Yeah, people went nuts
over
this.
They did a lot. And in fairness, because people love to talk about the toxic fandom associated with Release the Snyder Cut. But like in all fandoms, that's really just a minority of the group.
Right.
The majority are good people that raised money because they wanted to see the proper film. Yeah. That they were looking forward to. And also, half the money raised by the Release the Snyder Cut campaign was donated to suicide awareness.
But the thing is, you never see that reported on. All you see is
people love reporting about the negativity.
That people were harassing executives. And
yeah. But I mean, think about Star Wars fandom. Like, I think Star Wars fans are worse than the Snyder
are,
Cut fans.
And I say that as a Star Wars fan. They're absolutely terrible.
They're horrible. I feel like they're much worse collectively than this is. I feel like,
but even then, like you have the whole you have the 501st that does like these amazing things.
Obviously, there's good fans too.
Right.
Exactly. It's when you're talking about a group of people, it's not cut and dry. You can't just make one statement for all of them. Exactly. Yeah. So basically, they made enough waves that because of COVID, and again, this wouldn't have happened without COVID. If movie theaters were open and they weren't trying to push HBO Max so much, this wouldn't have happened. But all the pieces were in place that they said, well, we've got nothing else to do. We might as well release this.
Yeah.
And they first offered Zack Snyder just to put it out as is. Because the movie was cut, but there wasn't a musical score.
It was unfinished in like the post-production phase.
There was no musical score and there was no like finished CGI.
Right.
And so Snyder was like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. Because
nobody wants to... Also, we don't want to see a rough cut of the movie.
But he said, I'm not going to let you put this movie out as is so that nobody likes it. And you can then say, see, it's a piece of shit. Look at how bad it is. So they gave him $70 million to finish the movie. That's a new score. That's CGI. They told him, don't shoot anything else.
Yeah.
But he did.
He shot that scene at the end, right? That was what he shot?
Yeah, the epilogue is brand new. And he brought back all the actors and they put that together.
And from what I hear, the actors were happy to do it.
Yeah.
Because they like working for Zack.
And that's the thing. I can't wait for next week. We're going to do Keep or Cancel on Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon.
Ooh.
But by all accounts, everyone seems to love Zack Snyder. And you can hate him because of the movies that he makes. If you don't like those, you don't like those.
Right.
But by all accounts, he's just the easiest going, nicest guy. His daughter, the one who committed suicide, was his eldest adoptive daughter. They have 8 kids, half of which are adopted. Like, they just seem like...
You don't do that if you're not a loving parent.
They just seem like the most caring, nicest people.
Right.
And so it just sucks when, horrible things happen to, again, by all accounts, very nice people.
And then people just decide to shit on you for it.
Exactly. All right, so let's get right into the movie. It is Zack Snyder's Justice League. It is on HBO Max, and there are time codes in the description. Basically, what we're going to do is non-spoilers. And then I thought for spoilers, we'll just break it up into each part. Because there's 6 parts. There's 7 parts. There's an epilogue.
And if people don't want the spoilers, they can just...
Yeah, if you haven't seen this, if you've seen the 2017 one, you're kind of already spoiled the movie because we'll talk about it, but they're more similar than they're not in a way. But if you haven't seen this, when we get to the spoilers, don't ruin it for yourself because we're going to get into it, but we'll let you know when we're going to talk spoilers. Right. Okay, so actually, you know what? So initial expectations, before we get into non-spoilers, what did you think this was going to be?
Well, when all the news was coming out about this coming... All right, actually, let's rewind a little further. When people started, like, doing the whole, like, release the Snyder Cut thing, I'll admit I was one of the people that's like, whatever, like, I'm tired of seeing this.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen.
It's
That's
never
what I thought.
going to happen, right? That's what I thought.
Then news came out that they were talking about releasing. I was like, okay, that's a little interesting. When it got to the point where we started preparing for it by watching the previous movies, and Man of Steel was one that I was always, like, all right with. BVS I hated, as all of you probably heard, but after watching the ultimate cut of it, I was like, you know what? This movie's not bad when it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then after watching those two movies and having the context going in, then I was actually genuinely excited for this movie.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where I'm like, all right, now I can't wait for this to come out.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be... I still had my expectations, like, in check. I'm not like, this is going to be the best thing ever.
Exactly.
But I think my initial expectations and my hope was like, just please let this be better than what we got.
Yeah. Yep, that's my boat. I saw this chart online. It's basically like an x-axis and a y-axis. It's like a cross. And on the x-axis, it's bad movie, good movie. And on the y-axis is I liked it and I didn't like it. And I feel like that's the best way to rate movies. It's so simple. But because you like what you like. And you don't like what you don't like. And sometimes there's no explaining that. It's just how your brain is wired.
You can like a movie that's like...
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can hate a movie that's good.
Yeah, so I try to be as objective as I can on the quality of a film while also trying to separate that from how much do I like this. And when it comes to Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman and this entire universe, I can't help but love it. It's something that's pre-wired within me, and I think it's growing up with DC characters.
Okay.
Growing up, I like DC better than Marvel. I wasn't really into Marvel. I can see how it's not perfect, and we talked about it.
Yeah, it's very flawed.
Yeah, but for the most part, when we talk about Man of Steel, I really like that movie. Batman vs. Superman, I really like that movie too. I can tell you all the things that are terrible about it, and I can tell you all the things that are amazing about it. It is very broken up like that. It's horrible, and then it's amazing. It's amazing, and then it's horrible. But I like it, and I can't really defend that other than just saying I like what I like. And so when this released the Snyder Cut, and I always thought it's a pipe dream. I would really like to read about it, like read the script maybe, if that ever became available, see concept art, but we're never ever going to see it because this has never happened before. A movie's never been willed into existence by fans, by complaining enough. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is, in all honesty, like historic for the Hollywood system.
Yeah.
And so when it was announced, I wasn't even that excited. I was like, okay, cool. We're going to see it. And maybe it's better and maybe it's not. I was trying to keep my expectations in check because, again, being predisposed to liking this stuff, I'm naturally going to get very, very, very hyped. Right. So I'm like keeping myself in check. I'm like, it might be bad. It might be bad. It'll probably be bad. Even if it's not bad, there's going to be a couple things. Snyder's always going to do it. He's going to throw me something I hate in the middle of a bunch of stuff that I love. So I need to be prepared for that. So I had my expectations in check, and it wasn't until we rewatched those movies that my hype started kind of growing. And that's why I was like, we need to postpone the Joss Whedon Justice League because I don't want to watch that right now. I am all in.
We ended up postponing Elektra too. Sorry guys, we haven't come out with that episode yet.
Yeah, fuck that. We'll do that next. But I didn't care it was 4 hours long. By the way, we haven't mentioned this movie's 4 hours long.
Oh yeah.
I didn't care. I'm like, that's fine. It's streaming. You can stop it. You can take a piss. You can get some food. You can take a nap.
It didn't feel like it was 4 hours long.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to it. But I just wanted it to be, at the very, very, very least, better than the theatrical cut. And I wanted, specifically, one thing I did really want was a good score. Because music is a huge part in these movies. The Hans Zimmer scores in the last two movies, we talked about them, are incredible. And they're much more thematic than a lot of, like, say, Marvel movies. At least some of them.
I'd say, like, the early Marvel movies weren't that thematic, but they've kind of found their way as they went along.
Around Avengers, they started getting a little bit better. I have friends of mine that are going to be screaming at me for saying this. But the Hans Zimmer themes are just in your face. They're very unapologetic. It's like, here's a theme, boom. You know what I mean?
Very grand.
Yeah. And Danny Elfman kind of totally got rid of that. So I just wanted that back. And the score is by Junkie XL. He goes by his name now, Tom Holkenborg. So good score. and better than the last one. That's pretty much it. So yeah, let's get into it. Non-spoilers. Overall, Berto, what's your take on this?
Better than I thought it was going to be. Honestly, I enjoyed it the whole way through. It held my attention. There was maybe like one scene where I was like, okay, we didn't really need that, but that's it.
And the thing about that is that it's 4 hours long, and it's that length because it's going to streaming.
Right.
And because they're not planning on doing anything else.
Correct.
For the time being, 99%. They're not going to make anything else. This was just like, throw everything in. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, don't leave anything behind.
It's like basically anything that would be like a deleted scene is also in
Exactly.
here.
Because you could cut this down more. Again, it's 4 hours long. It's the longest kind of this movie ever.
Yeah.
Right? You could absolutely edit this down to like 3 hours if you wanted to. Any less than that, probably not, because then you start losing what makes this movie good, I think.
Yeah. I don't think this movie would work as a 2 hour,
it's doing
2.5
too
hour
much.
movie.
It's very ambitious.
Yeah.
I love this movie. It just knocked it out of the park for me. There's things and we can pick it apart. There's things that I'm like, yeah, you could have done that differently. That's a choice. Whatever. But did it meet my low expectations? Absolutely. Is it something I like? Yes. It's something that I love. Is it perfect? No. Will I watch it again? Yes. I'm going to watch it like 5 more times. I really wanted to watch it again before we did this, so I can kind of more...
The issue would be finding the time to do it, though, because it is so long.
Who has the time? But it is chaptered. There's 6 chapters and an epilogue.
If you wanted to, you could break it up and you could watch it as if it's a miniseries.
You could. Yeah, and for a minute, they thought about releasing it as a miniseries.
I think the pacing might have suffered a little if you did that.
Wouldn't have worked at all.
Yeah.
And it's because TV shows, each episode has like a beginning, middle, and end. You know, they are self-contained stories that then connect one another.
Yeah.
This isn't that. This is a chaptered movie.
Yeah. The chapters, like, they'll work as like good stopping points if you do need to stop for some reason. Right. But try to watch the whole thing.
1-2 sittings.
Yeah.
Don't. If you watch this over a week, it's not going to work. Because it is still a movie.
And then you might forget what happened in like chapter 1.
Exactly.
Because it is paced like a movie too. It's not paced like a TV show where you're being like slowly fed the information.
Yeah. So Steppenwolf gets a big redesign.
Yes.
Do you like it? What do you think?
I still don't necessarily love it, but it is way better than what we had before.
Yeah, I like it.
He doesn't look super threatening to me.
I think he looks very threatening, really.
I don't know. But that being said, though, like, he looks way better, like, with his new armor and stuff than he did in the 2017 Justice League.
Yeah. Look, there's been a lot of sci-fi movies. There's been a lot of franchise movies, comic book movies, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. There's all kinds of sci-fi out there. I think it's very, very difficult at this point to come up with something fresh and original.
True.
And this is a creature that we've never seen before, you know, in whatever form it took.
Yeah.
He's not generic in any way.
He was unique.
You're going to see him and you're always going to remember that's Steppenwolf from Justice League.
Unlike Doomsday from BVS, who looked kind of generic.
Yeah, we talked about it. He looked generic at the beginning, and then he started growing out all his spikes, and then he looks more like comic Doomsday, and maybe they should have started with that. So people wouldn't be complaining. By the end of the movie, he looks like Doomsday.
Right.
So.
But yeah, Steppenwolf, like, he does look unique. The design's fine. It just... I didn't feel threatened by it. But that's also just me.
Yeah. So when the design came out, we already knew what he was going to look like. But now that they got Weta to do the CGI for these characters, when they released the final image, people were pretty much divided half and half, I feel, whether they liked it or they didn't like it. And there's so many things in this movie that I feel do that. This movie is still, even though I think it's much better received than, say, BVS and Man of Steel, it's almost still just as divisive.
And people... I feel like with anything Snyder, it's going to be that way because there are some DC, like, hardcore super fans that do not like the characters being changed in any way.
Yeah, right. This movie has choices. Snyder makes choices.
Right.
And what I mean by that is that it's like he's making a choice that he likes to see, not necessarily the one that's going to be the most popular. And so by doing that, you either fall in that camp or you don't based on what you're predisposed to like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so here's this giant hulking kind of like crazy sci-fi looking villain. some people are going to like that because they're into that, and some people aren't. It's not objective. It's purely based on like what you like to see. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like half the people are kind of divided on it. By the time the movie comes out and you see it in motion and you see the movie, and this character is much more explored than he was in the other movie.
Yeah.
You see his motivations. He's got a whole fucking arc now. I feel people ended up liking it a lot more after the movie.
Yeah. Oh, the character himself was great.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I like him. I like Darkseid. Darkseid's in this movie. We knew that from...
Darkseid they made look threatening.
I like that. So Steppenwolf... Also, Steppenwolf's not very popular of a character. Like, not that many people know who he is.
He's like a henchman type character, right?
Well, in the comics, he is Steppenwolf... Sorry, he's Darkseid's uncle.
Oh.
But he also works basically for Darkseid.
Okay.
So there's a weird kind of like power paradigm there. But he's a humanoid. Basically, everybody from Apocalypse are humanoids. They look like humans. It's Darkseid that looks different. He looks like a monster because he did a thing and then he turned into a rock monster. And so Steppenwolf should have looked like a human, or at least did in the comics. And he just wears a helmet, like a Viking-style helmet, and that's why he has those horns. This design is obviously different. He's a big monster.
They made him like alien.
Exactly, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a popular character. You can do whatever you want with him. Who cares? You know what I mean? He has 7 fingers. Who gives a shit? Again, there's not that much that you can make and it still be fresh and original. But I can't remember a time I saw armor like that. That just like it's semi-sentient. It's just kind of always moving around him. When he's calm, it's flat. When he's in battle, it spikes up. It grows around his face.
The armor was pretty cool.
It's almost like Iron Man, but he's a big monster. You know what I mean? But Darkseid looks just like he's ripped right out of the comic.
Yeah.
He looks exactly like the
scary.
comic. And that's what people love about him. It's a good design in the comic. You don't really have to touch it too much.
No.
Just put it on the screen. And that's what they did. And it looks incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's kind of tough to talk too many non-spoilers, but you're talking about the pacing. It doesn't feel 4 hours for whatever reason.
Because I remember when it was time for us to, we took an intermission, we got food.
Yeah.
By the time we did it, we were more than halfway through the movie. We were like a good 2.5 hours in. It didn't feel like we were sitting there for that long.
No.
But we basically had watched an entire movie at that point.
So we watched the movie the day after it came out, and I kind of couldn't wait that long. So I started watching it on my own the day before, and I really only wanted to watch half an hour of it.
You ended up watching 2 hours?
I watched 2.5 hours of it. I just couldn't stop. And it is very well paced because, maybe it's just me, but I didn't feel the need to I wasn't bored. I couldn't find a place to stop. If I can't stop the movie, it's because I'm invested in it.
Right.
It moves very, very well. And I think that's just a product of having good characters doing good things. So when it comes to a long movie, this might break up into, are you the kind of person that likes a long movie or not? I'm the kind of person that if you give me good characters and they're doing good things, interesting things, I don't care how long the movie is. I will sit with it for as long as you want me to.
That's why people like the extended version of Lord of the Rings.
Yes, I was going to bring that up. If I was just hanging out at my house by myself and you just walked right in, you just invited yourself over, and you were like, hey, Arnaldo, do you want to watch Return of the King Extended Edition? It's 4 hours long. I'd be like, yeah. And we'd put it on. We'd watch it. I honestly, I would, because I really like that movie. It's 4 hours long, but for whatever reason, it doesn't feel that long. Right. You know what I mean? 4 hours will pass, but you won't. And it's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then if you said, hey, let's watch this random movie, it's 2 hours long, I might be like, God, that's long. What? Can we watch something else? What's
The Mummy?
What's 90 minutes? What can we just get in and out? So it's weird how that works, but again, if the characters are good, if you're invested in them, it almost doesn't matter how fast a plot moves.
So are you not a big fan of Cloud Atlas?
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. That's a very long movie.
I really don't want to. I don't know. Anything else on non-spoilers? Honestly, I just want to get into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
So
the only other non-spoiler thing I could say is that, when this movie introduces the characters, it actually takes its time to do it, and it does do them justice.
That's why it justifies the long.
Yeah. It almost makes up for some of these characters not having solo movies yet, because they do put so much into them.
Yes. This was a great movie for introducing 3 to 4 new characters.
Which they kind of had to do.
Exactly. And we talked about this when we talk about the Marvel format and how maybe they should have put this off more and built up more solo projects. In a world where you can get a 4-hour Justice League movie, I would say you don't have to do that anymore. Because this movie did its due diligence in introducing these new characters.
But here's the thing. How often is a movie like this going to release?
Never. Again. This is a unique situation. Had this come out in theaters and it was 2 hours 45 or 3 hours long, maybe we would not say that. But when Avengers the movie comes out, they didn't have to introduce a single character because all those characters had already been introduced in prior movies, and they can just move the story with characters that you are already familiar with, right?
Right.
That movie is 2 hours long. So when you look at this one that's twice the length, I feel like you don't need those movies anymore because it introduces these characters really, really well. And
it essentially just takes the length of an entire movie to do it anyway, so...
Right.
So
yeah, exactly. So it's actually less time all when it's all said and done, right?
Right. And just as effective, because by the end I did care about these characters.
Yeah.
Unlike the last version of the movie where I didn't give a shit.
Not even a little bit. Exactly. Yeah, so let's just go into spoilers. Again, if you haven't seen it, I don't know, stop.
Yeah.
Bye. But so I thought we would break this up in each part.
Like chapter by chapter?
Yeah, just to like kind of quickly go through like what's in the movie basically.
Yeah.
We're not going to like read the plot or anything.
No. Well, this would be a very long podcast.
Exactly. So part 1 is called Don't Count on It, Batman. Also, what do you think about the movie being chaptered?
I like it. Actually, I didn't think I was going to like it, but I was cool with it.
I really like chaptered movies. This is not a new opinion for me. I'm not saying this because I'm a fanboy or anything. And that's the thing. Right. I'm trying not to sound like a fanboy. I'm not, honestly. I just happen to really like this movie. I like it when Tarantino does it. There's a couple other movies that have done it.
Did Watchmen do it? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I went online and there's like a list, and there's a bunch of movies that I forgot that are chaptered. And now I forgot what they are too, other than Tarantino flicks. But I think more movies should do this, honestly, because it's almost like reading. It felt like reading a book, you know, where a chapter isn't like an episode of a TV show where it's like we said a self-contained story, but it does give you like a sense of what's going to happen with an interesting title. So when you see part 1, Don't Count on It, Batman, you're already kind of wetting your lips a little bit like, ooh, what does that mean?
And usually, I've noticed in this movie, they will say the title of the chapter about 5 minutes into the chapter. Like, it'll be in a line.
But that's how books work, too, you know? Sometimes that happens in a book, and you're like, oh, that's why they named it
and
this.
It also reminds me a little bit of, you remember, like, the old DVDs?
Yeah.
Like, every movie would have, like 20 or so chapters, and they would all have names.
Yeah, but that was an afterthought, too. That's just what they did to package
it was an
a
afterthought,
DVD.
but it was interesting that each chapter was, like, named.
Yeah. Yeah.
So someone went through the movie and was like, all right, this should be called this.
Exactly. Because today, movies still have chapters.
But it's just chapter 1, 2,
they don't
3,
mean
4,
anything.
5. Yeah, it's just like a point that you can skip to.
Exactly. So part 1's called Don't Count on It, Batman. Basically, all that happens in this one is Batman visits Aquaman. Lois is seen visiting the Superman Memorial. And then there's the Wonder Woman fighting the terrorists. And we see Steppenwolf attacking the Amazonians for the first Mother Box.
That Wonder Woman action scene, I remember a bit of that being in the theatrical cut, but this was a really good scene.
Yeah, that's a sequence that was mostly left intact with some parts cut out.
It was also like one of the only like Wonder Woman action scenes in the theatrical cut too.
The thing that they took out was Wonder Woman killing that guy at the end. By reshoot time, they're like, no one kills anybody. Don't kill anybody.
Which
don't do that.
Wonder Woman does kill. That's
okay.
One of her things.
The thing about Wonder Woman is that she doesn't have the same like ethical constraints as Batman and Superman does. She will kill her enemies. And
she's a warrior.
Yeah, she's the hardcore one of the Justice League, and usually they have to rein her back. She's not like the other ones, and I'm glad that they just did it, you know?
Yeah.
Because also, she's like 5,000 years old. These guys are about to fucking murder a bunch of children.
Yep.
Like,
fuck them.
No, fuck that guy. Kill him. No, don't arrest him. Don't deal with... No, kill that fucker. And I'm glad that she was just like, you're done. That's a good scene, though.
Yeah.
Oh, and I love that they... It's got... Again, I don't want to talk too much about what they cut out, for the other movie. But god damn it, there's a scene with Diana and a little girl that she just saved, and it's so touching. It's so well done, and I'm like, who sees this and says, "Nope, cut it out. We're short on time." Again, we'll talk about it next week. But they had to get the movie down to 2 hours.
Yeah,
but it was just such a nice bit.
It was a nice character moment for her too.
And the little girl's like, "I want to be like you when I grow up," and she's like, "You can be whatever you want." And obviously, she's lying to the little girl. You cannot be Wonder Woman,
as we learned in Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah. But I mean, if you wish on it, maybe on a stone, on a wishing rock. But she's just being inspirational, and that's what these DC heroes are supposed to be. It's amazing to me. Again, DC was like fixing problems that they created for themselves, because by cutting that little interaction out, they're trying to make it seem like their heroes are inspirational, but this was already in the movie. The part where Wonder Woman is being inspirational, they cut that out.
Yeah, dumb.
Oh my god! I like that scene.
Batman trying to recruit Aquaman unsuccessfully. That
was good. That got reshot a lot.
Yeah.
Basically, all the words are different.
But it was kind of funny just seeing Aquaman telling Batman to fuck off.
Yeah. There was a part a lot of people don't like is the dirge, which is the song that they sing.
That's one of the scenes where I'm like, I didn't dislike it, but if things needed to be cut out, that's probably one of the things that could have been easily.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, okay, so you cut that out, you save 10 seconds, 15 seconds maybe.
I feel in like this movie that's longer than that.
It might have been like 20 to 30. But in a movie that's 4 hours long. Like,
right.
The whole point of this is, fuck it, throw everything in. Mm-hmm. And so I don't mind it because I already knew what I was getting into. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was whatever. It was a little bit weird.
It was a little weird because she's like sniffing his shirt.
She sniffs his sweater, yeah.
I'm like, what the hell?
But he's their like savior. Like they didn't have access to like food.
Yeah, he helped them out a lot.
And he brings fish and stuff. So like, I get it. Didn't need to be in the movie, really. Let's be honest. But no. I get it. Oh, and the opening credits are like 8 minutes long.
With
there's a lot of like
Superman's scream just traveling through the world,
and there's a lot of like Batman hiking or whatever.
It's like, better than seeing like 5 minutes of Braille or webs. Yeah.
So part 2, The Age of Heroes. Oh, I forgot to mention the when Steppenwolf attacks the Amazons, they're all just kind of like waiting there. Like they've been working in shifts to watch some other box for like thousands of years.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess everybody except job. Men have been doing that.
Yeah, the men just buried it 2 feet
They
in the
buried
ground.
it, and then it was found, and it's just been transferred between people.
Also, very poorly designed temple, because when they like close the gates to lock whoever comes to steal the mother box in, they're also locking themselves in. They could have put those pillars on the outside of the doors. It could
have been like a sacrifice thing. Like,
I get it, but they could have also put the pillars on the outside of the doors. So when you knock the pillar down, the door closes behind you, not in front of you.
Yeah. I also liked when they were like, Amazonians, show him your fear. And then they go, cool. We have no fear.
That was cool. And then the shot when all the Amazonians come in, when the horses or whatever.
Yeah.
That was cool too. Like, they're always ready for battle.
The chasing is a little long, but that's fine.
I like it. I like that scene a lot.
It was exciting.
Yeah. Anyway, part 2, Age of Heroes. This basically starts with Bruce and Alfred are on the plane. I love that he has like a full ass plane for himself. Like, not a private jet. It's like an airliner.
Like a commercial.
Yeah. And it's just his.
That's a very Bruce Wayne thing.
Bruce Wayne. We meet Silas Stone and Victor Stone, Cyborg.
We do.
Diana investigates Darkseid. I like that whole part. It felt Indiana Jonesy,
It did.
Yeah, or actually, you know what it felt like? It felt like a National Treasury. Because she's like, oh, what do I put in here? Oh, this arrow. That's the key.
That's true. Like the end of a National Treasure movie.
Yeah. But instead of treasure, it's like, oh, we're fucked.
Oh, I just found out the truth.
Yeah. So we meet Aquaman and Volko, played by
Green Goblin.
God damn, Roberto.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. Yeah, thank you. Diana goes to meet up with Bruce, and she recants the original fight with Darkseid. That whole sequence is great.
That was a really good sequence.
Yeah.
I assume all of that CG was done specifically for this cut because
a lot of that was in the first movie. Zeus was in it. Ares was in it. There was a Green Lantern in it.
But we didn't see like that detail.
No. It was probably touched up a lot.
Yeah.
Darkseid wasn't in it because they replaced Darkseid with Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
And they didn't do any of the background stuff. It was much shorter. Mm. So this one was much longer, and they explained the mother boxes. Again, we'll talk about that next week. But
right.
They didn't explain the mother boxes in that movie very well.
No, they just existed.
And this one, they tell you exactly what it is.
Which might give some people some Infinity Stone vibes if you've only seen Marvel movies.
I mean, they're MacGuffins.
Yeah.
Whatever. Those are stones. These are boxes.
You gather them. You're powerful.
Yeah. But, man, this opening fight, it's got Zeus, Artemis, Ares. That was David Thewlis, by the way. That was his face. The guy, Professor Lupin. Professor Lupin.
Oh, fuck. Werewolf Boy.
Potter. Yeah, from Harry Potter. And then he was the bad guy in Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman,
but he's Ares, the son of Zeus.
Yeah.
God of war. And he's
before
he's the one
he
with
was
the axe.
bad, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's still good and bad are relative. Yeah. He's the one with the axe. I mean, that was his face pasted on some buff guy's body.
Right.
Fucking Zeus. Whoever that actor is looks so badass. Like shooting lightning and shit. I would watch a Zeus movie. Like sign me up. Get that guy. Get Artemis.
Make him the villain of the third Wonder Woman movie.
Is he still around? Who knows?
I don't know.
But I would watch that. He was badass. There's a Green Lantern. I love that 2 seconds of this Green Lantern is better than all of the Green Lantern movie that came out not that long before, like 2008.
Yeah. Fuck.
No, 2011 or something.
Yeah, it was like 11
that.
or 10. Yeah.
That was the movie that was supposed to kick off the DC universe, and they're like, nope, next one, Man of Steel.
Another WB being dumb again.
Yeah. Hippolyta's in that fight. Atlan is in that fight. It's just really good.
A lot of very big historical characters in this universe were in that fight. Yeah.
It's one of those kind of connective tissues.
We actually get to see a lot of the fight unfold.
This movie feels a lot like Lord of the Rings, and that's one of the reasons I love it.
That was a very Return of the King scene.
Yeah. It almost felt like...
or the intro to the Fellowship.
Yep, that one.
When they're talking about...
the first
battle against Sauron yeah. And then how the rings were created for, dwarves, elves, men.
Yeah, exactly. So part 3, Beloved Mother, Beloved Son. This is mostly about Cyborg, right? So Cyborg and Silas. I really like the tension between him and Silas, the dad. He obviously resents his dad for not being like a good father, first of all, but also being kind of partially responsible for their situation.
Very loosely responsible.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, things would have gone, and he says it, if you had driven, like, if you had been to the game, Mom would still be alive.
Right.
Like, at the very least, things would have gone differently. He would have been driving the car. Maybe, I think the implication is he would have been driving and the mom would have survived and he would have died.
Right.
And I think for Cyborg, who is closer with his mother and kind of resents his father,
his mom.
If he could, he would trade him.
Yeah.
And that's...
Which is kind of heartbreaking.
That's emotional, yeah.
Because you can also tell through this movie that Silas does love his son.
Yeah. It's a very strained...
everything he could to bring him back.
It's a very strained relationship. But also he resents that he turned him into this cyborg instead of just letting him die.
Right.
Which is probably kind of the selfish thing to do.
It is.
But
it's one of those like selfish acts born of love, though.
Right. I always thought Cyborg was more of like the kind of easygoing fun character from like the Teen Titans TV shows. Mm-hmm. And then I looked it up and nope.
He's a very tragic character.
He's a very tragic, serious, angry character in every iteration, all the comics, all the other versions. It's just the Teen Titans and the Teen Titans Go TV shows where he's like a different person. And he's like super fun and easygoing. The Teen
Titans show is very popular too.
Yeah.
So it's very good.
Yeah, it's good. And that's kind of why I thought Cyborg was like that. And so when I see this, I remember thinking like, man, he's kind of a bummer. But he's a bummer like that. That's who he is. This is very accurate to his character.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like characters like this. It reminds me a lot of Dr. Manhattan, where he's slowly losing his humanity because of how like his body's evolving into like pure energy or godlike status or whatever. He's slowly kind of like trying to still figure out how much of a person he is or how much of a robot he is. And so his sense of humor is very dry or non-existent.
Is this the sequence where we see him like basically in the internet?
Yeah, do you like that?
I like that a lot.
I love it.
It was really cool.
Fucking love it. And the music there is amazing. It's the only track I've been listening to on repeat. There's a couple other good ones, don't get me wrong. And the music for overall is really good. But the cyborg music is incredible. The sequence is incredible.
It does a lot for his character too. It shows what type of person he is. Like he's watching that mom like struggle, and he just does what he can to help her out. He gives her $100,000 through the ATM.
Right. And it's like they've done it a million times, like in movies. How do you visualize going on the internet? Like, what does it look like? Does it look like Wreck-It Ralph? You know, when Ralph breaks the internet? Does it look like any of these others? Does it look like Tron? Like, what is it? And I think they're like, again, this is not a new concept, but I think it was very, very well done.
Yeah.
And Zack Snyder's not going to mess up his visuals.
No.
He's definitely a visual director, and this sequence is just incredible, I think.
Yeah. Both from a like character standpoint, story standpoint, and visual standpoint.
Yeah.
This entire sequence is really good. And one of the best parts of the movie, I'd say.
I agree. And I think it's such a good way of, in 4 minutes, 5 minutes, however long the sequence is, to explain to the audience exactly what his powers are.
Yep.
And very well done, because it doesn't feel like an info dump. It feels informative but entertaining. It's almost like a music video. Like it works really, really well.
Yeah. Because we learn like basically who he is as a person and what he can do all at the same time.
Right. It also has the Flash intro.
That one was
I've seen a lot of opinions on this.
I didn't hate it. I've seen a lot of opinions on this too. I was fine with it though. Like, we get him being like a really awkward guy.
Yeah.
And then he notices that Iris West is in danger, and he goes and saves her. But at the same time, he's in the middle of like an interview, and you can tell that he was thinking about the interview at the time too, because while he's saving Iris, he grabs a hot dog.
For the pups.
And uses it for the pups to secure the job. At first, I thought he was going to eat it. I thought it was like, oh, well, this is just some dumb gag.
Yeah.
But it showed that he was actually still thinking about what he was originally doing.
Well, he has all the time in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, when he's going that fast.
I guess essentially he does. I was fine with this. The music was a little weird, but I didn't dislike it.
Again, I'm trying so hard to not come off like a fanboy.
I'm loved not.
I loved it. I fucking loved it. I thought it was so good. A complaint I do see, and I completely understand, is that this Barry Allen does not feel like Barry Allen the character. Barry Allen's not super jokey. He's not the funny guy. He's not awkward. But personality-wise, they did kind of mix Barry Allen and Wally West. And Wally West is the jokester.
Yeah.
And it does feel like the team needs a comedic relief.
Well, yeah, because who the hell else would it be?
Right. And that's why in the Justice League TV show from the early 2000s,
they use Wally West.
They use Wally West instead of Barry Allen, because he's the one bouncing off Batman, who's like the straight man, obviously, and some of these other characters who don't have sense of humor.
This version of Barry Allen is also so young that he's basically like fanboying that he's like with like superheroes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the whole movie, he's just like, it looks like he's just happy to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really like that. And I don't think it's pure Wally West either. I think this is Barry Allen because he has a sense of humor and he's a little awkward. Maybe he's on the spectrum for all we know.
This version of him could be.
Yeah. And he is used for comedic effect. However, he is still cerebral. And there's scenes in this that, since you don't have to chop it up, really kind of showcase that he is still the very cerebral Barry Allen.
Yeah.
The scene with his dad in the jail. He's not making weird, awkward comments and jokes. He is very serious there, and he very much is dedicating his life to helping his dad out, and that's who Barry Allen is. Yep. So it can be both.
They have
it can be two
core
things.
Of his character down at the very least.
Exactly.
His motivations.
Yeah. But this brings me to a main point in this movie, is that Zack Snyder here likes to make choices that he likes.
Right.
He's unapologetic
and it's his story, so.
And one is the music, like you just said, the song that they picked. This is by Rose Betts, yeah, Song to the Siren. As soon as I heard it, I was like, I'm downloading this song. I love it. It does sound, it's got the same beginning like 3 notes as Welcome to the Black Parade. I don't know if you noticed that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. And then it does something different. And so for a second, I heard someone else say that too. They were like, is this
I would have liked that.
It got real weird. But it's I'm gonna be honest, this is my genre of music. I like kind of depressy, folksy music. But I get why people wouldn't like it. I think it's
the tone of the scene. I think that's why it's a little odd.
I don't know, man. Because the moment here is life and death.
That's
true. And he's intervening. It's not a fun, like, other than him grabbing the hot dog and putting it in his pocket, it's not supposed to be a super fun experience.
No.
Some of the things I like when he breaks out of his shoes. I mean, he breaks out of his shoes. That's neither here nor there for me. I like that when he runs, he's not in this scene. He's not really running. He's more kind of like shuffling over because he's not actually running fast. Not for him.
No.
He's mostly just kind of shuffling over and kind of looking around and like, okay, what do I do? Like, what's the best course of action for me to save this girl who's floating in the air? She's going to crash into that.
How do I have her not die?
Okay, so, like, I'm going to... But if you see him run, it's not really a run. He's like, ugh. But the choice of music, again, I stand by it. I really like it. But I think it's a bold, ballsy move to, like, pick music that you personally like and put it in this movie. You know what I mean? Because if you, me, and two other people were to get in a car and go on a road trip and you pick the song, there's a good chance two people in the car won't like that song.
Yeah, because everybody's preference is different.
Music is very subjective.
Yeah.
It would have been much safer to go with, like, score music and let Junkie XL write something here and perform it, but he picked a song he liked.
Well, and that's the thing Snyder does a lot, I feel like. In all of his movies, if he likes a song, it's going to be in that movie.
Yeah, and again, I'm not fanboying. What it is that we just happen to have a very similar taste in music. I like all the songs that he picks in his movies.
Okay. That's fair.
So the other songs in this are there's only 3, by the way.
Which is a surprise.
Yeah. Avengers had more. But the other 2 are by Nick Cave, and I really like Nick Cave also.
Okay.
So when I heard those, I was like, I immediately recognized.
So you love the score and the soundtrack of this movie.
Yeah. But I was like, I didn't know those songs, but I immediately recognized Nick Cave. And I was like, I'm downloading those as soon as this is over. It reminds me a lot of Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1. Not just because it's also a Nick Cave song that they use in that, but because it's such a choice to pick this song in a weird kind of genre that not everyone knows and not everyone likes.
It worked really well in Harry Potter, I feel like.
And they put it in a scene that they made up for the movie that wasn't in the books.
Yeah.
But they needed kind of a montage-y kind of sequence to just show Harry and Hermione surviving through this. Like, yeah, they can stop and share a moment of friendship. It was completely platonic. That's why I love that scene so much. They're just friends. And they had a moment where they could kind of forget about their hardships and kind of enjoy each other's company. And they picked a weird song for it. And it's a really good song, but most people probably didn't like it.
Is this while Ron's being like a bitch? And
yeah, Ron's gone.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that. Like, it's a bold choice, and that's kind of why I like it. I think it paid off for me. I know it didn't for a lot of people, but there's a part where Wonder Woman and Bruce Wayne hold hands on accident,
and they're very awkward about it. I think she intimidates him sexually.
I like it. Hey, I'm here for it.
And they're both like, "Oh, I didn't mean to." Sorry.
I want to say Batman and Wonder Woman have hooked up before.
I think so. I think it happens more often with Superman.
Superman and Wonder Woman, they do have relationships, but so that's why I'm kind of not sure actually if Batman and. But the thing about Batman is that, like, just because he's not superpowered doesn't mean that, like,
he can't fuck.
Well, okay, yes, but I think he's attracted to power because when you look at all his girlfriends, other than like Vicky Vale, who's nobody, but like it's Catwoman who like obviously intimidates him probably a little bit, and then it's Talia al Ghul who's like another like super villain.
Yeah,
you know,
very powerful villain.
Yeah, I think he's obviously like attracted to that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't pay off anywhere. Like, it's whatever.
Yeah, it was just an awkward moment between them. That's all, and that's fine. It kind of humanizes them.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. So
Bruce goes after Barry.
And
he's
Diana
very
goes
successful
after
because Barry
Cyborg.
Loves the idea of this superhero team up.
I thought that was cool too because you want to break up. You know, you have Cyborg who's like reluctant, and then you have Arthur, Aquaman, who's also reluctant. You can't have Barry also be reluctant.
Barry's like, oh, hell yeah.
I'm down. Yeah, I want to be a superhero. I love all that stuff. Did you notice? Actually, you did. You're the one that told me. when they get in the Mercedes and then drive away, a billboard in Central City says,
You are not alone.
You are not alone, which is, one, a reference to Man of Steel when Zod gets there and he says, you are not alone. But then also the billboard is for the ADSP or something. It's the American something suicide prevention.
Okay. The suicide prevention hotline, basically.
Yeah, right. Which is what a lot of this movie benefits. It's what Zack Snyder represents. It's
what a lot of the fans donated to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this movie was all about. You know, it's for his daughter and stuff. So that was pretty cool. And then Steppenwolf steals the second mother box from Atlantis. Fights Mera and Aquaman.
Beats the shit out of him, too.
Yeah. Mera sucking all the water and then blood out of his face was fantastic.
She was bloodbending him.
Yeah. It's so important to note, I think, that this movie's rated R, but I feel like people don't care about ratings when you're streaming so much as when you're going to the movie theater. People don't care about it when you're
at home.
I guess.
It's not like a hard R or anything, though.
No, they added
they say fuck like twice or
three
times.
There's
three. Ooh.
And there's a ton of blood.
Yeah, but even
the
blood could probably make it like a hard PG-13.
So there was probably zero fucks in this movie originally and no blood because it had to be PG-13. When it goes to streaming, HBO's probably like, who cares? Do whatever you want. We don't care. So he's like, all right, sweet. I'm gonna add blood.
Some of the blood is
all the
blood's
CG anyway.
Some of it's a little grotesque.
Well, so they asked him about this, and he said he likes his movies to have stakes.
Yeah,
and a lot of times you get in these kinds of movies, you get people fighting or whatever, and nobody gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But humans are fucking fragile.
Like you'll see someone get thrown against the wall and you'll see like blood and like what looks like a little bit of like brain matter on the wall.
Yeah.
When they hit.
Exactly. And that's what would happen if you got thrown that hard up against a rock.
By a superpowered man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of blood. Cyborg says, fuck the world, which is great, I think. And that was probably added on. The terrorists say,
oh yeah,
get to the fucking something, and then at the end, which is a reshoot,
a scene that we'll get to.
Batman says fucking
I also liked, and I see that you have that here in your notes. When they talk, when they're not in like the air bubble, they communicate through like dolphin squeaks.
I don't like that.
How else would you talk underwater though?
Okay,
it makes sense.
So here's the. Oh, you like it?
I like it. It makes sense.
Well, because you don't like the movie Aquaman. That's really what this boils down to. And so anything different, you're like, yeah.
I'm glad they changed that.
Could you watch a whole fucking movie though of them dolphins squeaking at each other?
Well, that's why they make those air bubbles to speak.
But if they live underwater, they're not gonna make air bubbles all the time. No. And the problem here is the lack of, it's not maybe not lack of communication, it's just that they're trying to set up an Aquaman movie that they haven't figured out yet.
Yeah.
They hadn't figured out all of the mechanics of like, how do these people communicate and travel and what does this look like underwater? And they maybe should have had ironed that out a little bit more.
Maybe in the
this.
Aquaman movie to normal people, that is how they're talking. We just hear them in English.
Okay. Yeah, they're really just squeaking at each other.
I like that idea.
And it's the same reason why Mera has a British accent in this.
I like the British accent better too.
She's okay at it. There's some parts where it doesn't sound great.
Right.
She's not British. She's American.
Right.
But so what happened is when they reshot this with Joss Whedon, I guess at that point they're like, they probably had figured out more about the Aquaman movie at that point, and they knew that maybe she should be American, use her just regular accent. And so
it was probably easier for her.
It's probably for the best. So she does the reshoots in American accent. So then in Aquaman, she has an American accent also. But again, this was filmed before. So it's just a product of like...
Her hair's not as red
out
in
of
this
time.
Either.
Well, there's barely any color underwater too. That's the other thing.
That's true.
I'll get to that. But the irony here is that the scene at the end was a reshoot. So they brought her back
to do
the British accent because otherwise you would break up the continuity within the movie itself.
Yeah. I guess she could like pick up an American accent. People pick up accents. And this is years later.
Exactly. But
so
again, her character has an American accent. It's been established. That's the canon.
Yeah.
But because this is a slightly out of canon before that even happened, she had to be British again. So that and
also fuck Amber Heard.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
Cancel her.
No, sure, yeah. Let's cancel her. But at the same time, like I do like her in these movies. I think she makes a good Mera. However, you could probably recast her and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
You could put what's her name from Game of Thrones?
Emilia Clarke?
Yeah, Emilia Clarke. She would do just as fine.
Yeah. I like her too. So.
Yeah. Just plug her in, right? And that's the other thing that we were talking about. They hadn't figured out what like underwater looks like.
Yeah.
A lot of this movie is very desaturated. That's a complaint.
Okay.
That's how Zack Snyder kind of shoots his movies. I like it. The football scene might be the most beautifully shot football movie ever because football fields are better lit than this. But this is also not
because
true
it's
to life.
Saturated. It makes it look very cinematic. And...
It's supposed to be dramatic because it's also his memories. Like it's not
true. Yeah.
I think it's like it's one of those like unreliable narrator situations where like that's not literally what happened. That's how he remembers it. And so it's dark. It's very shadowy.
Maybe he didn't get the touchdown.
Yeah. Maybe he lost the game. I don't know.
Maybe he sucks.
But also they were playing Wisconsin, which is a real team. But back to underwater. Like I do like Aquaman's look better, like the movie's look, where it's very colorful because
well, yeah,
underwater can be very colorful. Like fish are very colorful, coral reefs are very colorful.
Depends on how deep underwater you are.
Yeah, but also in that movie they say they can see better underwater because their eyes adjust to low light because there's very little light down there, and fish can see.
The way that's one of the things I did like about the Aquaman movies was the way it looked.
Yeah,
it looked good.
It would have been nice if there was some continuity here, but like they hadn't figured it out.
Yeah, this was made before that, so yeah.
But whatever. Part 4, Change Machine. So that's in reference to the mother box, and that's kind of how they explain what the mother boxes are, right? But first, they finally suit up together. This is like almost 2 hours into the movie. And we finally see like Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Cyborg all like suited up. They're on the rooftop with Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
That's all really good. I like all that stuff.
Commissioner Gordon's cool in this movie too. And
yeah,
when they all disappear and the Flash is still there.
Yeah, I like that.
I think that was left in the theatrical cut.
That was in the theatrical, yeah.
Which I was surprised that little jokey scene was a Snyder scene, actually.
Yeah, well, this movie in general is much lighter than like BVS.
It is, even though the stakes are much higher.
Yes. But maybe that's it. Maybe part of that it's like a balancing act. But
yeah,
it really does seem like all 3 of these movies are reverse engineered from this idea. That I think he goes, I want to get to Justice League, and those are going to be the fully realized versions of these characters. Superman, Batman, Flash. And we're going to work our way backwards. So I want to get to it at the end, but I think this movie nails a lot of the character complaints that we had before.
I agree.
It's unfortunate that it took this long to get there, and I see how it was all part of the plan. I just disagree with the plan. You know?
Yeah. It's also unfortunate that we might not see this amount to anything.
That's the thing. If you build up these characters the way you want it to do, Mr. Zack Snyder, and you take from 2013 to 2017, that's 5 years to do this.
Yeah.
I can't do math. That's 4 years.
4 years.
To do this. That might be too long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people are going to lose interest.
To get the fully realized Batman who has turned over a new leaf, and to get the fully realized Superman, who's a big inspiration of optimism and hope to the world. Maybe you should have done that right off the bat. But in this movie, at the very least, it is very satisfying to get these characters.
It's like what I said during the BVS episode. I think maybe, and I think I was right, that this movie is going to retroactively make those movies better.
Yes.
Which it did.
I think so, too. I told you that. I said that.
We
said
talked
that.
About it. We said that.
We did it together as a team.
We said it in different ways.
We're a team. No. But you're absolutely right. Now that you see the big picture, you can go back and be like, okay, well, yeah, Batman's in a rough spot, but he is going to make a whole 180 in the next movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I feel like it's a payoff. Seeing these characters like this here, it's such a payoff.
It's a very long payoff, though.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Well, also, this movie was delayed for 4 years. It was supposed to come out 3.5 years ago.
Even then, though, it would have been a long payoff to wait until 2017
sure, exactly.
to see that. But if this movie came out 4 years ago,
it wouldn't have felt as long.
It wouldn't have felt as long. And I also think DCEU would be in a very different spot right now.
Yeah. Because this is a popular movie right now. People
at the moment, it is.
More fans are loving it than they are hating it.
It's the most buzz that DC has gotten for their movies since Dark Knight.
Maybe since like BVS, but that's negative buzz.
I mean like positive.
Positive buzz since like The Dark Knight. Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure. So I don't know, fucking do something with this, but we'll get to that. The sewer fight. I like all this a lot. All the sewer stuff is really good, I think. It's only a shame that we had seen most of it in the last movie.
Yeah.
In a different context and not as good.
Right. Because, I remember watching the scene. I'm like, I've seen this before.
Yeah. That's kind of the unfortunate thing, is that we've seen the main parts of this movie, basically.
But one thing I thought was a little weird was he told Flash to, like, get the people out. All he was really kind of doing was running alongside him, telling them to hurry up. I thought he was going to, like, carry people or something.
Yeah.
Or...
Well, between him and Cyborg, they were doing it. But then the part where all the rubble is going to crash on them, and you've got him flashing around.
Yeah.
And you only see flashes of him. I love that bit.
That was cool.
Because also, we've seen speedsters before. Like, Flash has had several seasons of a TV show. We had 2 versions of Quicksilver. We've seen every different way you could do a speedster at this point.
Yeah.
We haven't quite seen that. You know?
Yeah.
It was, again, in the movie universe and the sci-fi genre, we've seen everything. So it's crazy when they find something that we haven't seen yet and they really utilize it.
Yeah.
I love that bit.
I also love when... This is also when he knocks the sword into Wonder Woman's hand, right?
Yeah. He did that in the last one, too.
But he, like...
They kept it.
He's so happy about it.
Yeah, he's like, I did something. Because that's us. You know what I mean? Like, if we joined a superhero team, that'd be us.
Like, I did something to help.
I'm part of the team. And then he trips.
Yeah.
I also like that Batman's not blue in this one. We'll get to that next week. But he's regular. He's black.
As he should be.
But yeah, this part, they explain the boxes a little bit better because they have one box with them. In the last movie, I don't remember what they say about the mother boxes, but it's very unclear what they do in that movie. And this one is very
all we knew was
clear-cut.
that like it helped make Cyborg the way he was.
All we knew was it was a MacGuffin. Like, you just had to get it.
Yeah.
That's it. But in this one, it's they brought these and they left them behind, and now they want them again so that they can destroy the world, turn it into another apocalypse, and continue dominating new worlds. That's their end game, right? And Steppenwolf has to do it himself before he's allowed back to Apocalypse.
Yeah, did he get like banished or something?
Apparently he got banished. It's implied that like he maybe made a pass for the throne or something.
Okay.
And he betrayed Darkseid and now he's banished.
He's exiled. He's
exiled,
like
yeah.
Prince Zuko.
Zuko, yeah. I think you said that when we were watching the movie.
His honor rests on capturing Earth.
Yeah. But the mother box shows him that the anti-life equation is on Earth.
Right.
Which is Darkseid's end goal, is to find the anti-life equation.
Kind of a weird thing, because, like, did Darkseid not know it was there? Did he lose the planet? Because he was previously on Earth.
Right. I think what they said is that he knows that it's on the planet that
fought back.
The only planet he's ever lost was Earth. And so, but I guess he
forget where it was at.
Like, it's been a few thousand years.
Which I guess is like, planets move through space. They're always moving. So I mean, the location's obviously different.
But you got boom tubes.
Also, like,
it also might be that he didn't know the anti-life equation was there. I don't know.
And he found out later, and he was like, "Oh fuck, I gotta find that planet again."
Yeah. To me, this is a nitpick. I'm like, it's just one of those things.
To some people, it's like a plot hole, though. Which I guess it could
I don't think it's a plot hole. The thing is, if you pick apart other movies, you could do things like this.
Yeah.
You know, for 30 years, we were saying, like, oh, Han Solo thinks that a parsec is a unit of distance.
Han Solo's an idiot.
Or a unit of time, not a unit of distance. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, is this a plot hole? Like, does it matter?
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. Like, it's whatever. The boxes can basically change matter. And I love the part where he explains where that specific box has been through, that the Nazis found it. Yeah. And then clearly the Americans
they
took
probably
it.
used it for a real program that they did where they were trying to, like
a sciencey thing?
Yeah.
They're trying to find, mythological artifacts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was real. I love Nazi fake period movie things. I fucking love that shit.
No, there was another Nazi project where they were trying to like unlock like hidden potential. I think it was called like the MK Ultra program. That was a thing too.
Really?
I think.
We'll look that up. Yeah, I'm down.
Let's look it up.
But Captain America did it where it's like World War II, but actually here's a lot of stuff you didn't know. And Inglourious Bastards, I fucking love all that
stuff
shit.
like that's great. I love when games do it too, like Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Or Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah.
All of that was based off of like Nazi experimentation and
I don't know why
There's something interesting about it.
fake movies with like fake Nazi history is so fun, but it's so fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Because they really did try to do weird things like that.
Sure.
And those movies are like, well, what if they found something?
It's semi-plausible history. So the decision to revive Superman is still in this movie, but in this one, it just makes more sense. And then there's the scene when Martha goes to speak to Lois, but actually it's the Martian Manhunter. Did you know? Was that a surprise for you, the Martian Manhunter?
Yes.
Because it's this big open secret that he was in this movie, because Snyder mentioned that forever ago. That, oh yeah, my movie would have had Martian Manhunter. And so people knew he was in this movie.
But they didn't know when he was going to show up.
Well, because, this movie was never supposed to come out.
Right.
Then it was revealed that it was his character, General Swanwick, who was in the last two movies. The whole time. He was always there. He was always supposed to be the Martian Manhunter. And so when we were rewatching these, I realized that you didn't know that. I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep this from him. Because I thought, I'm going to save one surprise for you, you know? In our Man of Steel episode, Chris mentioned it. Yeah. And you didn't catch on. I was like, oh, he doesn't know this. And Chris stopped talking about it. So I'm glad that that wasn't spoiled for you. But
yeah, it was. I was like, oh shit.
Part of me thinks though that was a reshoot, and that conversation between Lois and Martha was supposed
Originally,
to be
Lois
the real
and
Martha.
Wasn't Martha still in Smallville like 2 scenes later though?
I guess maybe. Yeah. I just couldn't tell if it was original or not, and he just wanted to
shove
in Martian Manhunter.
Do you think the one later in the epilogue was original? Where he comes down and just talks to Bruce?
No, that's new.
That's actually a new scene?
Apparently, they wanted to use Green Lantern, and they couldn't.
Why not?
WB was being weird.
And WB's so weird.
Even though there are 2 Green Lanterns in this movie. There are 2. Kilowog is in this,
too. This is a dumb thing that WB does, though, because back when the CW shows were doing, like, really well, WB was like, oh, you can't use the Suicide Squad anymore, and you can't use Deathstroke because we're going to have them in our movies.
Even though they're completely unrelated.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I've heard that maybe that scene could have been a Green Lantern, and so Ben Affleck is acting up against, like, whoever that is, because all he says is, like, can I help you? Like, person flying in the air. So that could have been either
just a dude
Martian
in a green morph suit floating in front of him.
Exactly. But I do like that it's Martian Manhunter.
Yeah. Well, he's a cool character, too. I like him.
And he's an important member of the Justice League. And it's like, you're doing Justice League, do it. Go all in. What's holding you back? Again, there's 2
studio.
but there's 2 Green Lanterns in this movie, for fuck's sake. They both die.
Who was the second one?
Kilowog is in this. There's a vision of the future, and his body's on the ground.
That's right. When you see everybody getting killed.
Yeah.
What, the vision that Cyborg sees?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Part 5, All the King's Horses. So this is the part where they dig up Superman. Oh, Ryan Choi is in this movie. If you don't know who that is, I didn't know who it was, but that is the second Adam. So that Chinese assistant.
Okay.
Or that other doctor.
Oh, towards the end of the movie, they say something like, oh, something working with nanotech.
Yeah.
That's your thing, right? And he's like, yeah, that's my thing.
So that was supposed to maybe spin off into an Adam movie.
We're not getting a Ray Palmer, though?
Well, that was the thing. Skip Ray Palmer and go to...
the shows are doing Ray Palmer
Ryan
anyway.
Choi. Well, also, it's one of those things where it's like, there's so many white male superheroes that when given the chance to...
Why not diversify without actually changing the character?
Exactly. Yeah. Because this guy is Chinese in the comics, and they got a real Chinese actor. Like, that man's accent was very real. And Snyder said, my idea was maybe let them choose whether or not to, like, spin this off into an Adam movie set in China. But with Chinese people, probably in Chinese.
Great box office numbers.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, the thought of that is super interesting, though. If they're going to make a movie set in this universe, but it is a legitimately Chinese film.
It would be interesting.
In Chinese. Because that actor...
is actually Chinese.
This is his only English language credit on his IMDb. He has only done Chinese stuff.
Hey, he did a good job.
Oh yeah, he's great. Like, I mean, he speaks English, obviously.
Yeah.
But he's only ever acted in China.
Okay.
And he's fairly popular over there. Like,
okay.
We don't know who he is.
Oh, so this could have spun off into like a Chinese film.
I think that was legitimately the idea. That's why they didn't get an American Chinese actor. They got a Chinese actor.
China would have loved that.
I think that would have been so cool. Like, even if we have to watch it with subtitles, it is a little bit like, okay, well, how do you think they watch our movies? Like,
Yeah.
either subtitles or in bad dub. So that would have been super cool. It's too bad. I mean, who knows? Who knows what the future lies for?
99% chance it's not happening.
Yeah. But like, that's a good idea. They can still do that.
Unfortunately,
what I
that
mean?
character is from this movie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so is Iris West, and she's going to be in the Flash movie.
True.
Same actress.
Okay.
So I don't know. Anyway, did you notice a pregnancy test in this part of the
did.
movie? I'll explain that later.
Yeah,
but
I didn't get it, but I noticed that it was there. I was like, did Superman?
it was very clearly put there too.
Yeah, I'm
Like, it's not just like she blink and you miss it. It's,
No, it was
the camera
there.
holds on it. Yeah. So
I was like, is she pregnant?
I'll explain. I don't. We'll get to that. In this one, the plan is much clearer, like what they're gonna do. In the last one, it was super rushed, but so they're gonna drop the mother box, and Barry's gonna charge up to it, and that's when Cyborg has the vision of like what could the mother box speaks to him.
Because that's Cyborg's thing. He's
Connected,
technology.
right? He's connected to it, and it shows him that Wonder Woman could die or will die. Aquaman will die. We see Darkseid using the Omega beams. So in the comics, he has similar to heat vision, to Superman's heat vision, but it's like omnidirectional. He can make it go anywhere, and it's like a million times worse. So basically, if you're in his proximity, he could just kill you on the spot. Darkseid is like the big bad of the DC universe.
Yeah.
So that looked really cool too, that effect. Oh, and then that scene where Superman is holding like a fried corpse, and Darkseid's
That was
sitting
Lois,
over him.
right?
That's Lois.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive that wasn't in the original idea for this movie. That is
Yeah, because that's a catalyst towards the nightmare scene that we see later.
yes, but that's not original Henry Cavill. That is a. Do you remember in Man of Steel when he breaks Zod's neck?
Yeah.
That's that footage.
Okay.
They reversed it.
Huh.
They mirrored it. I mean, and they reformed.
So they did like a little,
CGI'd
they did a little
around it.
trick with it.
Yep.
To,
So
okay.
he didn't actually shoot that, which makes me think, because someone pointed out they did a side by side. I spend too much time on Twitter, basically. But so that probably wasn't in the original idea for this movie. That was in this cut of this movie.
Okay.
And then the Superman fight. What do you think about the Superman fight?
It was better with context.
Yeah. And, yeah, exactly.
Because keep wanting to compare it, but we are talking about the other movie next
We're
week.
going to do that next week, exactly.
Yeah.
But on its own, this works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the best parts of that movie are in this movie. So
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of doing evil Superman. And that seems, we've talked about it, seems to be like the trend.
Yeah.
And so I like that this part is just, it's short.
And they explicitly say like he's
confused.
He's confused. He's acting on instinct alone.
Right. And it is interesting. It is interesting to see the good guys all fighting.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting when Marvel does it, and they've done it several times
Mm-hmm.
when the Avengers are fighting each other. So I do like that, and it does give you a bit of a measuring stick of like how strong Superman is.
he can see the Flash running.
Yeah, I love that part. Because it's you know he's stronger than all these people. You know he's stronger than Wonder Woman. How much stronger than Wonder Woman? That's the kind of part that we didn't really know. And Wonder Woman does put up a fight, obviously.
Right.
But then the Flash, at this part in the movie, I would have assumed like, oh, he can't see Flash, and he like turns around and
then
sees
you
him.
see the Flash's face. He's like, oh,
I love
shit.
that oh shit face he does is it's the subtle humor, you know. It's not a joke, but it's funny.
Yeah. Like, he looks scared shitless that Superman can see him.
Yeah. So part 6, something darker. So the team goes to Russia. We talked about Batman's arc in this, and Batman doesn't. I feel like he doesn't do that much in this movie, really, because it's not so much about him like the last
Right.
movie was. But I love Batman in this movie.
Well, his character arc in this is basically like turning over a new leaf.
Yes.
And then trying to bring these heroes together.
It feels complete to me. I feel like watching this movie was so satisfying because I feel like this is Batman. This is the Batman. I got Batman animated series vibes from this, you know, which is the Batman I grew up with. Like, he is a fully realized Batman. He's seen good, he's seen bad, but at the end, like, he feels wise in this.
Yeah.
Early in the movie, he says, about halfway through the movie, he tells Alfred, like, for the first time in my life, I'm working off faith and not reason. So he's telling Alfred, because Alfred's still worried about him. He's like, "You're gonna get killed or whatever."
Yeah.
He says some other stuff, and he's like, "I'm doing what you want for once. Like you won."
This is the most optimistic I've seen Batman.
Exactly.
Ever.
Right. It's this version of Batman specifically.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy to me that like this was always the plan for this character, and yet DC still wanted to quote unquote course correct it when it's already in the movie. You didn't have to fix it.
All you had to do was let it happen.
Exactly. Just let it happen because it's in the movie. And he means it because in the last movie he says, if there's even a 1% chance that Superman is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty. So that is purely reason, statistics. That's
Yeah.
how he's working. And now he's a little wiser. He's a little older. He's seen some things. He's more optimistic. And so when he says something like, Superman showed me blah, 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 because it's worded differently in both movies, it means something now. It's not like in the theatrical cut, he just says Superman was a beacon of hope. And we're like, you don't mean that because we just saw the last movie.
And you didn't think that.
Exactly. That's not what you said. And in
Especially
this
in
one,
the theatrical cut of the last movie, too.
Exactly. But it's all fucked. But in this one, here he is. You feel him. Like you see the character realizing his arc. He is just a better Batman. And when he's assembled the team, he's completed his mission, and they all get on the it's called the Flying Fox. I don't call it that, but that's how it was. They said it at one point. They get in the plane, and he turns around and he's like, "Faith, Alfred, Faith." Like, for me, it was like a boom moment, you know?
Yeah. No, he's a different man at this point.
And Affleck kills it. We'll talk about it next week, but he phones in the reshoots really bad. Again, he was going through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But in this, like, he's really good. Superman picks his black suit. What do you think about that?
Well, his black suit is a suit that he uses after he's resurrected anyway, right?
Yes.
Which, I guess from a comic standpoint, that's why they had that happen. But I don't know why this version of Superman picks the black suit.
It's just an editing thing. And this goes to show how much effect like a simple edit in a movie will have on you. Mm-hmm. Like when you're watching the movie, because the suit wasn't black originally. It was red and blue.
Right.
The black suit doesn't actually exist in real life. Mm-hmm. He wanted to do the black suit because, one, he's Zack Snyder and he's metal, right? And the black suit's metal as fuck. But two, in the comics, yeah, like you were saying, like when Superman dies, when he comes back, he wears a black suit for a while because
I guess in canon it helps him absorb.
In story, it regenerates his powers.
Okay.
It's a regenerative suit because when he wakes up, he doesn't have as many of his powers or whatever. But also in comics, you got to break up the monotony of it. It's the same reason why they wrote a reason to put Spider-Man in black for a while, right?
Yeah.
It's Venom. But Zack Snyder wanted to do black suit. DC said, no, absolutely not. You're not going to make him darker than the last movie. So, no, red and blue. So they shot this on red and blue. But now that he gets a second chance to just do whatever he wants, they colored it black.
Right.
First of all, looks great.
It does look good.
You wouldn't think that was colored in post. Even with like CGI or whatever, it looks super real, you know? Mm-hmm. But in that scene when he picks the black suit, he doesn't actually pick the black suit. That was filmed as him picking the suit that was shown on screen, the blue and red one. You see what I'm saying? But because they colored it in post and they didn't reshoot that scene, then we are left to assume that the black suit was off camera and he picked it.
Okay.
Making him look a little emo, right?
Right. But like his attitude isn't like down or anything.
No,
He's
no.
still like Superman.
But because that scene exists and because it got colored in post, it makes us feel like he chose the black suit.
He's just like, you know what? I'm just feeling it.
Which is kind of a weird thing to do. But also, you're not going to reshoot that scene just to clarify that one thing.
Yeah.
And Henry Cavill wasn't available either.
I guess they could have recolored the suit in that scene if they really wanted to.
Like, that red and blue one on the side could have been black.
Yeah.
That would have worked, actually.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have access to the red and blue one, so he picked the black one. I don't know.
Yeah, because his red and blue one's, like, destroyed or whatever.
Yeah. That could have worked.
But
I like the suit a lot.
It's fine. The suit's fine. It looks good.
We didn't talk about Superman suits when we did the bonus episodes, and usually we talk about, like, costumes and stuff, and we kind of forgot. First of all, I love the costumes in all these movies. They're incredible.
Yeah.
But in this movie, this is my least favorite Superman suit because the first two are great. The Man of Steel one is kind of muted blue, desaturated. For Batman vs. Superman, they upped the blue. So it looks great. It's a really nice dark
like a
blue.
perfect Superman
Yes.
suit.
It's a nice dark blue and a nice dark red. It looks incredible. And in this one, if you watch the bonus features of the theatrical cut, they added these reflective panels underneath his suit. I'll show you a picture. It looks horrible. And then Joss Whedon lightened up the blue a lot in post, and it looks light blue, very reflective. They're like muscle inserts. It looks so dumb. I really don't like it. But what's nice about them coloring this suit black is that it kind of makes that go away. And so
It fixes the problem.
It fixes the problem. Yeah, the final product looks great. Look at it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So anyway, he does his flight with the two dads talking to him. I love all that stuff.
That scene was really good. A little emotional.
It does, yeah. And you know what? I feel like it, like we said, it kind of fixes all the Pa Kent problems we had.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, maybe Pa Kent wasn't a piece of shit.
Maybe he wasn't that wrong. I don't know. What I'm saying is maybe Superman is just remembering the best parts of him, and when he combines the advice of both of his dads, that's Superman. That's who he wants to be. Because both those other movies had identity crises for him. Not knowing who he's supposed to be, what's his role. He has a lot of people telling him different things. But it's a combination of all of them that he picks something in the middle where he's got, Jor-El telling him to be an inspirational hero for the humans who are fucking idiots or whatever. And then he's got Pa Kent telling him, fucking whatever he told him.
Fuck everyone. Let him die.
But in that moment, he just kind of remembers the best of both his dads.
Yeah.
Is inspired.
Which gives him kind of like the best of humanity and the best of Krypton.
Yeah.
Which
I think
Superman.
Like, it's one of those things. That scene kind of made that movie better.
Yeah.
Man of Steel. I love it. And then they recreate the flight sequence when he kind of takes off. He's got the little rock.
The music, too.
The music is back, too. Again, that's what I wanted. I wanted these musical callbacks. And the score brings back the best parts of those scores, even though it's a different composer. Well, they work together a lot. Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer.
Okay.
The third act of this, I like. Third acts can be tough, right?
Yeah.
A lot of movies, they kind of fall apart here. But I like this because everybody is fighting to their strengths.
Yeah.
A lot of times in Justice Leagues, like when you pick up a Justice League comic, all the heroes are doing something different because they all have very different power sets. Mm-hmm. Unlike some Marvel stuff where, like, say, the Avengers, they all
group up and fight.
Exactly. Because they're all fighters with slightly different powers, but they're all super strong, right?
Whereas the Justice League, it's like wildly different.
Wildly different, exactly. Yeah. Flash can't punch really hard.
No.
Sometimes he can if he does it really fast.
If he's moving really fast, but that's
not his strength.
He's not a fighter.
Batman can fight, but he's not super strong. He's not fighting the same guys as Wonder Woman and Superman.
Yeah.
So they have to work together.
Batman's also more of the planner.
Exactly. Yeah. He's a strategist. And he's got the funds, he's got the tech, he's got the gadgets, the vehicles, whatever. So I really like that in this, instead of them all just trying to fight parademons the whole time, they're all doing something different.
Yeah, and there's an actual plan in place that they're trying to fulfill.
Right. So Cyborg's hacking into the mother boxes. Flash is getting charged up.
He's building up speed.
Wonder Woman and Aquaman, they're the heavy hitters. Yeah. So they're doing most of the fighting.
They're the ones fighting like the parademons and like kind of trying to defend Cyborg.
Yeah. And then Batman's got his Batmobile. He's shooting missiles. He's knocking shit down. He's murdering a bunch of parademons. They're undead fucking insect zombies, so who cares, right? They've got the splash page when they're all... They do the Avengers
all
thing.
Like jump from like Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. It's whatever. It's like, it's got to happen.
No, it was a cool little...
Yeah. Like, so what if Avengers did it? It has to happen. You can't
have a
team up superhero
and not have an ensemble shot like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. They were missing Superman in that shot, but we do get that later.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, so Superman shows up eventually and starts kicking Steppenwolf's ass.
Well, yeah, because their plan's about to, like, fail.
Yeah. But right before he shows up, there's real tension in that scene.
Yeah.
Like, it works. Mm-hmm. And
even after, there's some more tension.
Exactly. And then the mother boxes join up. The unity is formed. Any other movie, that just seems like dumb jargon that they just made up for the movie. But in this one, it means the thing's going to fucking blow up and destroy the world.
And it does.
So it's not just jargon because they used it.
Yeah, it's explained how it works, and then you see it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you see, like, all their bodies slowly explode.
Yeah.
Like, Superman's getting fried.
Everybody, including Superman, dies here. The only person that doesn't is the Flash because
Flash, yeah.
he can outrun it.
So I had to watch it again to kind of like really kind of grasp it. The explosion happens and he kind of like steps into the Speed Force and it doesn't affect him.
Right.
Because he's in like another plane
It's
or
all
whatever.
happening around him.
Yeah.
But you still see like the ground below him getting like destroyed.
Right. And that's when he decides to run faster than the speed of light to turn back time. And what's nice about this is that it was mentioned early in the movie that if he runs too fast, it fucks with time.
Yep.
And then you see it because when they woke up Superman, for a second, things moved backwards.
Yep.
It's really well kind of put in place for this payoff, I think.
And he even mentions as he's doing it, he's like, I got to break like the one rule I have.
Oh, it's so good because...
And this scene is this is my second favorite part of the movie.
Yes, I love this scene. The music is really good. And again, for a jokey character, that's why a lot of people are like, oh, it's not Barry Allen. It is Barry Allen because when he's not trying to make jokes, you know, he is being cerebral. He's being serious. And in this moment, he's like, okay, I got to do this. And he starts kind of talking to his dad, who he obviously can't hear him.
Right. He's like talking to himself.
He's talking to himself because he might die here.
Yeah.
And he's like proud of himself for being on this team and doing something and saving the day and using his powers for good and being up someone. Because early in the movie, his dad's like, go out. Don't worry about me. Go out and be a person.
Yeah. Live your life.
Be the best because I know you're the best. And he's like, I'm being the best. I'm one of the best right now. And then he says, make your own future, make your own past, just in case you're not understanding what's happening here, audience. Like, he is going back in time.
He's going back in time.
Oh, fuck, what a good sequence.
Because earlier, as he was building up speed, he ended up getting shot, so he kind of missed his cue to get Cyborg into the mother box.
Yeah, that was another kind of visual cue that he's turning back time because he healed himself.
Yeah, so... He does this, he turns back time to the point where he's supposed to basically knock Cyborg into the mother box. Or like charge the mother box so Cyborg can go into it.
Right.
And he goes back in time and does that. Saves everybody. He saved the world.
Yeah. And I like seeing that like you see like Superman and Cyborg's like their skeletons reformed and the blood comes back in and the skin comes back on. It's one of those things where like, could they have gotten away without the PG-13? Like the
Doctor Strange did. You see people getting like impaled and killed in kind of terrible ways.
I guess you're right.
You see someone fly out of a car
and
splatter on the ground, but like it's shown in reverse, so you see him like
that's right. They did do that in that movie.
Yeah.
So it's not unique to this movie, but this movie did it very well, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, the MPAA can be really weird with stuff. Sometimes things are rated R because whatever, they feel like it.
Why was The Matrix rated R?
A kick to the head.
Really?
A single kick to the head made it rated. Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep.
Was it because of like violence?
Yeah, violence to the head they take really seriously.
Huh.
But that's why I'm like, all the head splattering to the walls and stuff in this movie, that's
why it's R.
He ran with it. They're like, rated R? Cool, let's have blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they saved the day. They got the hero shot, which was great.
Yeah. We see Wonder Woman decapitate Steppenwolf.
Oh, I forgot about that part. Yeah.
In slow motion,
Fucking
classic
amazing.
Zack Snyder.
No, okay, but in fairness, and we talked about this in Man of Steel, I feel like it's cheap when you don't want your hero to have their hands dirty by killing the bad guy, so you have to make the bad guy kill themselves in a creative way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in the last movie, in the Justice League Joss Whedon cut, I don't know if you remember how that ends.
I don't.
Superman shows up and literally scares Steppenwolf to death. Steppenwolf is scared of Superman. And,
Which he is in this movie too. But...
Okay, but in that movie, they for some reason established that the parademons hunt fear. They sense fear and they hunt it down. Oh. So then the parademons
gets scared, they turn on Steppenwolf and kill him.
And then either they kill him or they take him in the boom tube and they take him back to Apocalypse and you don't see him die. That's how that movie ends.
Yikes.
Exactly. And I'm sorry, like, if you've got a guy who's trying to take over the world, you kill him. You fucking kill him. You don't think twice about it.
Right.
So I love that they just beat the shit out of him. And then Wonder Woman, who is the most ruthless one, as established in this movie, she killed that first guy.
Yeah.
Something that Superman and Batman might not have done. She's like, fuck it.
I'm going to kill him.
Off. I'm going to slice his neck.
Chances are Darkseid would have killed him anyway.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I had that moment spoiled for me, too, because I saw, like, again, a lot of this stuff was already available online. Like, people knew how this movie was going to go. And I saw a cosplay of a Wonder Woman, and she had, like, a sword, and at the end of the sword, it was Steppenwolf's head. I'm like, okay, that's gonna happen in the movie, isn't it?
No, it was a good scene, and then like the head just slides, and then Darkseid just like steps on it.
Yeah, out of anger. I love that little scene though, where they're looking at each other and they're just having a stare down.
There's like
on
a portal
boom
between
tube.
Apocalypse and Earth, and they're just They're
like, yeah, what are you gonna do? And Darkseid's like, I'm gonna fucking kill y'all.
I'm gonna find a way.
I like that a lot. That was a really good ending.
That was also like that was the cliffhanger because it sets up Darkseid as this big threat. Because he's like, all right, I'm going to go to Earth and I'm going to fucking kill them.
I cannot forgive WB if they don't make sequels to this. They probably won't. I'm just keep my expectations in check. But holy shit, what a setup.
Why would WB remove that? That was basically their ticket to getting a universe going with their whole Thanos level villain.
Yeah.
They fucked up.
Yeah, seriously. So the epilogue. You want to talk the epilogue real quick?
Yeah.
It's the nightmare sequence again. Only this time it's a little bit different. You've got Batman, Cyborg, Flash, Deathstroke, Mara, and the Joker. So this is all reshot. The original nightmare sequence might have gone a little bit differently. But because he had money and whatever, he's like, fuck it, let's do it.
Did Ben Affleck come back for this?
Yep.
Was he happy to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that I know of. I don't think he mentioned it. I mean, he did it, right? Well, so, he could have said no.
It seems like Ben Affleck is a lot more willing to work with Snyder than Joss.
Again, these are real jobs. It's not just about the movie and the script or whatever. Right. It's about being on set and working with someone you like working. It's having a nice boss.
Yeah, if you have a shitty boss, your performance isn't going to be that great.
Yeah, you might not want to be there no matter what they're paying you, especially some a A-list celebrity like Ben Affleck. He can do any project he wants. He doesn't have to fucking be there if he's uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Right. Which means he was totally open to doing it, and that's why I asked, was he happy to do it?
Again, probably. I don't know. But he also is coming back to do the Flash movie.
Okay.
Which who knows what that's about at this point.
That might just be in his contract.
What movie? No. He was out. He was out.
And then he was like, okay, I'll do this.
The news for this, that he was going to reshoot Snyder Cut stuff as Batman, and he was going to do Flash, came out a week apart. Okay. So he agreed to do both things at the same time.
Huh.
And that starts filming next month, The Flash. And
we'll see if that movie finally gets made.
Yeah, seriously. So Ben Affleck will be in that in some capacity.
Okay.
So Epilogue is in the nightmare.
Was it 4 years in the future?
4 or 5 years in the future, yeah. But this time Joker's in it. Wasn't originally supposed to be in it, but because Snyder just felt like I can ask Jared Leto, we can put these two characters together who haven't met.
Yeah.
And probably won't anymore. I remember
him saying, this is supposed to be this Batman's Joker, and I want them to interact on screen.
And they never did.
Yeah.
They were on top of the car in Suicide Squad.
And that's it.
Then actually...
That's not interaction.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about that? It's mostly just their interaction. That's 90% of the scene.
Because you could tell that there was definitely history between them that Joker brings up.
You like Jared Leto in this?
I was fine with it.
A lot of people hated this, and a lot of people loved it. It
seemed like he was trying to act like the Heath Ledger Joker a little bit more.
I didn't get that. I got that he's doing him, but he's doing his interpretation.
It was better than what we got in Suicide Squad.
Well, so we watched Suicide Squad, and my opinion is that all the Joker stuff was edited out of context.
Yeah, it was weird. All of it was really weird and out of place.
Right. It felt like you walked in on him halfway through a soliloquy or something.
Yeah.
Or just some dialogue, and they just kind of cut and pasted different things.
And this
together.
is the first time we get to see him actually act.
Right.
I liked it. I like their interaction.
You know what? I really like it.
You can tell Batman hates him.
I get that it's a Jared Leto take. Right. But I think it fits this universe, and I like that it feels like an R-rated Joker. It doesn't feel like the Joker movie where it's fundamentally a different character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This feels like the Joker in this universe.
And it looked like instead of lipstick, it was blood on his mouth. Did you notice that it was a lot darker?
It was I don't know if that's makeup or he
ate someone.
Who knows? Fucking anything can happen right now in this universe or whatever.
I mean, in the comics, we have a Joker that cuts his own face off.
Right.
This isn't that crazy.
Right.
By
it's
comparison.
on par. That's what I'm saying. This is more. It feels more comic accurate than other Jokers we've gotten, including Heath Ledger's, which I love. But this does feel more in the comics. Mm-hmm. Right.
The makeup was great.
Yeah.
The hair is great.
Yeah. I mean, put up against Heath Ledger's and Christian Bale's scene that they had. But that one's probably still better.
Well, that was also like,
but it's a
part
different
of the
movie.
main plot of said movie too.
And Heath Ledger's incredible in it, and that might be one of the best scenes in any comic book movie.
Right.
But this was good. I like it.
Yeah. No one's gonna be Heath Ledger again, so people need to let that go.
But again, this is more comic-y, and I really like the reach around joke. But you know why? Because a Joker will make a joke every now and then that will make you laugh, and then you'll immediately regret laughing.
Because it's not something that you should be laughing at.
Exactly.
Very inappropriate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that was something I laughed out loud, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's gross. That's a joke. That's a gross one, yeah. And Sable didn't know what a reach around was, and we had to explain it to her.
I thought it was when you snuck up behind someone.
Yeah.
Put your hands over their eyes and said, "Guess who?"
Right.
That was seriously what she thought it was.
No, a reach around is when you play with someone's butt while you're sucking them off. So, again, I think that's a good joke because it made me laugh. And then I was like, geez, Joker, fuck.
And it pissed Batman off.
Obviously, that's the whole point.
Back to the nightmare scene itself. It paints a very bleak future.
Yeah.
All of the people that Cyborg saw dying are dead in this future. So
yeah, they line up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it seems like Batman and Cyborg are having visions of the same future.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing about that Joker scene, I like that it's the Robin conversation that we always wanted from. Because at BVS we see a Robin is dead because of the Joker, and now they're talking about it.
He mentions adopted son. So which Robin do you think it is?
Okay, so it's complicated because if it's comic book accurate, it's Jason Todd,
right?
Which is the second Joker.
Who also isn't actually dead because he's the second Joker.
Yeah. He ends up surviving. In the comics, no one dies, but
except Uncle Ben.
He ends up becoming Red Hood, and then he becomes actually he stays as Red Hood, but then a good Red Hood. Yeah. But anyway, apparently at one point around BVS when that was coming out, Snyder said that it was Dick Grayson. And people were like, you should just make it Jason Todd. Why would you make it Dick Grayson? Because then you're ruling out using a Nightwing.
I feel like Dick Grayson getting killed, though, would hurt Batman more.
Okay, maybe, but then you're ruling out Nightwing, Yeah,
but this entire universe has already ruled out so many things.
But then, before all this was canceled, they were going to do a Nightwing movie. So then it was kind of like a retcon. I mean, not a real retcon, because he never said that was...
It was in the movie, it was never said who it was.
It was never explicit that it was Dick Grayson. But because they wanted to make a Nightwing movie that now is on hold or not happening at all, it would be implied that Dick Grayson is alive, and maybe that was Jason Todd, which is what I think they should have done anyway, because then it's more comic accurate.
Right. You piss off less people that way, and you still have a good story.
Yeah, because Dick Grayson is great, and Jason Todd sucks. No one likes Jason Todd.
That's why they killed him in the first place in the comics.
People voted to kill him.
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
Yeah. It was a narrow margin, but more people voted to kill him off. So that's why he's dead.
And they did it in such a brutal way.
Yeah, exactly. He got beat with a crowbar. Yeah. But the fact that he says you sent a boy wonder to do a man's job, that's a good line.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where they work in a corny nickname into a movie, like Boy Wonder, but he's saying it to really get under Batman's...
saying you sent Robin to do something that you should have done, and he's dead because of you.
Right. I like the "I will fucking kill you" line.
Yeah.
Because this is no longer wise, good Batman. This is Batman at the end of his wits.
But Joker also mentions that we're in this timeline right now because of Batman.
Alternate timelines. And he does mention that because there is time travel in these.
He's basically how many timelines are we going to go through with this shit?
Yeah. So I want to get to that because that is...
It seemed like it was actually kind of an important conversation that they had.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people kind of missed that.
Yeah. I want to explain because I want to get into the planned future for these movies would have been. Mm-hmm. And then he wakes up to meet Martian Manhunter, which we already discussed.
And he basically says, if you need anything, I'm here.
Yeah. He made himself present.
And Batman's like,
and it's Swanwick,
okay.
The guy we knew.
Yeah.
It was great. He's a good actor. I really would like to have seen that.
The line from Man is, "Are you effing stupid?
You effing stupid?" That's Martian Manhunter this whole time. So, overall analysis, I really fucking love this movie. It's not a guilty pleasure, but it feels like one because it's just It's just all the things I like. Again, I feel like I'm predisposed to like this because it's got a lot of choices in it. And there are the choices that I would make if I were to be making this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Okay. I like this movie a lot as well. And I'm not even a huge DC guy. I was never into the DC comics or anything, so my only exposure to it really was the old Batman movies, which we've talked about.
Cartoons, you didn't see like
I've seen like not the Superman cartoon, but I did see like Batman animated series and Batman Beyond.
It's all on HBO Max now. I kind of want to rewatch all those.
I might rewatch them just to get some nostalgia.
Batman, Superman, then Justice League, the cartoon, Justice League Unlimited.
But besides like those cartoons and the old movies, it was just like video games.
Yeah.
And whatever stories that they decided to tell in those, which some of them are really good.
Arkham games.
Arkham games are great. Injustice is an interesting concept.
Oh, yeah. DC Universe. This feels a lot like the beginning of DC
Universe Online with like the timelines colliding and stuff. Yeah. So, me not being as huge a DC fan, I did like this movie a lot. And I think if this came out in theaters as intended, maybe shortened a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it'll be in theaters. I think it would have given Marvel Studios a run for their money that year.
And the box, I mean, maybe.
And I think the DCU would be in a better spot now, and they'd have a more cohesive plan on what they're doing.
Well, that's the thing is cohesion. Like, I would want all these movies to be connected. I don't mind if they're different. Like, this can coexist with Shazam.
Right.
They're radically different movies, but the world is a radically different place. Like, those two things can go together. You know what I mean?
Just
and Marvel does it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can watch Ant-Man and then watch Civil War. They're very different movies. Mm-hmm. And they take place basically back to back.
And to an extent, I don't know if you want to argue if it's canon or not, but like the Netflix shows.
Right.
Very different tone.
Yeah, exactly.
An R-rated tone.
Ooh,
and they exist in this... I don't know what the status is of that now, but
right.
They supposedly exist in that same universe.
Right. And we were saying, like, just today, the Warner Media CEO, I think she is I didn't write her name down. It's like Ann Sarnoff, I think. She basically was just like, no, like we're not doing more with this. And the reason she stated is that we want a more such bullshit, a more holistic, diverse viewpoint, yada yada, to our universe. Basically,
what does that mean?
And then she mentioned multiverse. Basically, we're going back to the old way where we can make a million different things and we don't have to connect them because they're set in different universes. Cool. That's what we had in the 90s and 2000s and we hated it. You know what I mean? What did Marvel discover? If we make one connected universe, we like that better, right?
Yeah, because you have cohesion.
Exactly.
And interaction between more characters.
And I'm fine with some Elseworld stuff, as it's called in the DC universe.
Yeah, go ahead and make that new Batman movie an Elseworld
cool.
thing.
Yeah, you made a new Batman movie because Ben Affleck quit for a while, even though he kind of unquit, even though you're not going to do anything with him anyway. You made a weird Joker movie. Fuck it. Okay. But at least at the same time, if you gave me some more in-universe stuff that's all connected, that's fine. We can do some Elseworlds. Make a Superman Red Sun movie where what if Superman landed in Russia, in the Soviet Union, instead of Kansas? And he was raised with that, with communism, right?
I don't know if America would like watching that.
Well, that was a very popular comic book is what I'm saying.
Right.
So you can do all kinds of stuff like that, but I do need like a main universe where everything's connected. I really, really like that. I don't like the direction that they're going in now. And she said, why? She basically implied like, why would we want a singular vision? Okay, do you know who you're competing against? And I know I don't like to like put up Marvel against DC, but the reason Marvel is so successful is because they have a singular vision. They're very collaborative. Don't get me wrong. There's a million people. There's a bunch of directors. They all get to put in their own flair, and they're writing stories kind of on their own. Like they get a lot of autonomy, but they're still put in check by Feige so that there is one singular kind of vision.
That way, nothing's contradicting each other,
and it all kind of
at least not in an extreme way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it all's moving together to the same kind of like end game, right? You know what I'm saying? So like, what's wrong with having a big connected universe?
Nothing.
Like,
it's preferred.
This is the most, you said it, this is the most buzz DC has gotten.
Most positive buzz.
Sure.
Yeah.
Since before this universe existed.
Yeah.
So why not run with this? Why are you running with just what you have now, which is nothing? It's just, oh, we got random shit coming out. Okay, so the Flash movie, maybe that's going to reset some continuity. We get it. We know. It's not even known whether that's going to connect like Robert Pattinson in his movie.
Yeah, that might just be its own thing completely.
Yeah, so to me, it's like, then what's the point? If I wanted to see a different take on Batman, I would watch the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
I want to see this Batman continue.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need 3 takes on Batman going at the same time. They're not different enough, you know?
Yeah.
That one, and we haven't seen that movie. We just got a trailer, but it feels kind of like the Dark Knight trilogy, where it's like a little bit
like
more grounded.
They're trying to do that.
Yeah, it's not, and there's no aliens and blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. We got that already.
Which, I mean, I guess in this universe would kind of be true because he operated for 20 years and didn't know aliens were a thing.
I'd rather see that. I'd rather see a prequel series or something. A Batman's, I don't know. I'd rather see something else. But going back to just this movie, also, it's artistic. Again, not trying to sound like a fanboy. I don't mean like it's, oh, this is art, blah, blah, blah. What I mean is, it is by definition art. Art means like you've got the artist and he's forcing his perspective on you to look at something, right? When a painter paints something, whatever style they choose, whatever colors they choose to use, it's because they want you to see that. It's their vision of whatever they're presenting to you, right? But in a movie, you can make things more realistic, or you can make things more kind of artistic, where you're putting them through maybe more stylistic perspectives, maybe the way you shoot things. And one thing we talked about was, when we talked about BVS, was the Bruce Wayne origin, right? And how we saw Christopher Nolan do it, and how we saw Zack Snyder do it, and they're radically different.
Yeah.
That's who Snyder is. He's very artistic. So he is going to put the camera up against the gun barrel in slow motion.
Yeah.
And then the pearls are going to fall slowly. And then there's going to be music behind it.
That's his style. That's how he is.
It is artistic. It's not realistic, right? Mm-hmm. So at one point, you kind of have to ask yourself, how artistic do you want your movie to be?
Yeah.
Like, when you're watching the movie, like, what is your kind of scale here? Because I know some people aren't into this kind of thing.
I'm probably somewhere in the middle. You know, I don't want too much of either one, because on one hand, like, I watch movies and fiction to like escape reality a little bit, so I don't want it to be like hyper realistic all the time. I don't want it to be beating me over the head with reality, you know?
Yeah.
Let's go the other way though, where it's too artistic and it's just like way too fantastical, and then for some people it's a little bit hard to take it seriously, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they'll just dismiss it.
Well, we said in Batman vs Superman, when Bruce Wayne kid falls down into the cave and then the bats bring him back up.
Yeah.
You're not seeing a literal thing that happened. You're seeing a metaphor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I'm fine with that.
And there are movies that do stuff like that. But those are art films that aren't very popular. You know what I mean?
Like Birdman?
Huh?
Like Birdman?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just like Birdman.
Is it Birdman? Was that the name of the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're thinking of the right one.
Okay.
That movie is filled with a bunch of stuff that you have to question.
It's a very artsy movie.
Yeah. Is what I'm seeing actually what's happening, or am I seeing this man's perspective who's crazy?
Mm-hmm. It did it better than Joker did too.
Yeah, fuck that movie, man. I fucking hate that movie so much. God damn. So yeah, that's a question you have to ask yourself, basically. Yeah. And I think that is a litmus test for if people are going to like this or not. And Snyder movies in general, because look at movies like Watchmen or 300. 300 is ridiculously stylistic. It pushes kind of the envelope of how stylistic you can make a movie like that before people are like, what am I looking at?
And the thing is, like, stuff like that works with comic book movies, though. It does.
Well,
which is why it worked for 300.
Comic books.
Like 300 and Watchmen.
Yeah, because those are comics. Well, 300 specifically looks like that on the page.
It does. That was like from page to screen, and it was faithful.
It's a faithful adaptation that uses that overly stylistic approach.
Mm-hmm.
And then Watchmen is also very stylistic, and you can question whether or not it matches the comic book or not.
A lot of people do argue about that.
Exactly. But in a property that's this mainstream, like DC Comics, like, you can't do a Marvel movie artistically like this.
No,
you know what I mean?
It wouldn't work.
Because that's their universe. They've already decided, as a universe, we're not like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's their visual language, right? But me specifically, like, I like this. I like artistic movies. I mean, this isn't the real world, right? It's like you said, like, this is escapism.
Yeah.
I want to see cool stuff like this. I want to see cool shots, pretty pictures.
Yeah, something fantastical happening.
Good music. Like, that's what I'm into. And so I really, really, really like this movie. I like what it did with the characters. I like that these are all fully formed versions of these characters.
Yeah, by the end of this movie, they definitely are.
Yeah, this is the Justice League. I didn't feel like, oh, I'm watching a Zack Snyder take on these characters that some people like and some people wish that blah blah blah. No, I'm watching the Justice League.
Yep.
That's how I felt. And I mean, I don't know what more you can want from this.
They even they go back to the old Wayne Manor, and they're basically gonna put their table there.
Oh yeah.
It's like giant round table, 6 chairs.
Well, again, Bruce Wayne, who's been living in a lake house because he's so far fallen from being Bruce Wayne Batman that he can't fathom the idea of going back to his mansion that's burnt down for God knows why, because they never explain it, which I think is kind of great. You're just left to assume something terrible happened.
Probably involving the Joker.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he burnt it down, for all we know. That'd be a great thing to explore in something that would never happen. And by the end of this movie, he's like, no, you know what? Let's fix up the manor. Let's move back in. I'm going to be that Bruce Wayne again.
The Hall of Justice.
Like, come on. It's awesome. I like that this whole movie, the main theme here is about teamwork. It's about family, and it's about orphan people and dealing with their trauma. All these characters are orphans in some way.
Yeah.
Barry lost both his parents to a terrible circumstance that he is committed to, like, fixing. Cyborg lost his mom because of his dad. He lost himself. Batman, obviously. Superman, obviously, orphans. Diana's so far removed from her family, she can never go back.
Aquaman kind of like... not exiled, but like he doesn't really belong to Atlantis or to the world of man. I love that at the end of this movie, they ask him like what he's gonna do, and he's like, I gotta go see my dad, because he's also been he comments in this movie about Cyborg, and he's like, like it's a lot to ask of a man who just lost his dad. Yeah, like he really empathizes with him, and at the end of this, he's like, I gotta go see my dad. I just want to hug him.
Yeah. And also, that kind of carries into the Aquaman movie really well, because the movie starts off with him going to visit his dad. Yeah. So.
Damn it might still be canon.
But it's that kind of like thematic bit of this that I really enjoy. Do you want to hear about Justice League 2 and 3? Because I know everything that was going to happen in those movies.
I would love to, because it's probably not going to happen.
It's probably not. I would really love if it did, but not like this. So these details, Justice League 2 and 3, leaked. These aren't official in any way.
Is it just Snyder talking about it?
No.
Or not even?
I don't know how these leaked. Someone working close probably typed something up. They're not even first-hand accounts. Okay. So you saw when you walked in, you were looking at me reading some of them. I had read them before, but I was reading them again. There's like spelling errors. Like, it's semi-credible is all I'm saying. Okay. And it's pulling so far out of context. But quick synopses. If you're hopeful that these movies are going to happen, you don't want to hear about what would happen in Justice League 2 and 3, then just turn this off. But in Justice League 2, they would have fought the Legion of Doom, which was sort of implied at the end of this movie. Oh. Lex Luthor.
Luthor, Deathstroke.
Yeah. So it would have been Lex Luthor, Deathstroke, Dr. Poison from the Wonder Woman movie. She would have survived. She would have been like 150 years old or something. Okay. But she would have survived because she had been testing different chemicals on herself and had like found like long life. All right. So she would have been super old, but like surviving. Leonard Snart, who you may know as Captain Cold, yep, he would have been introduced in the planned at the time Flash movie. Orm and Black Manta, who are both from Aquaman, and the Riddler, who would have been in the Batman movie. That thread carries on because the new Batman movie has the Riddler in it. That would have made up the Legion of Doom. They would have been fighting the Justice League. You can read more details, but basically a lot of stuff would have happened in this movie. A lot of personal stuff. It would have been similar to this, where everyone's kind of doing their own thing for a lot. Okay. They've got their own subplots. But the main takeaway is that there's a scene where Lois Lane is in the Batcave with Bruce Wayne. They have like a big meeting, and everyone leaves. Lois stays behind and talks to Bruce Wayne. It is revealed that they had an affair. Oh. Yeah. Lois Lane and Bruce Wayne. So that in the comics... that's never happened before. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
But
Also, where in this movie universe would that have happened?
Well, for the 2 years that Superman was dead.
Oh, is that not fair then?
I mean, no. But so basically, they would have been working together at some point, or have known each other,
right?
And they would have, found solace in each other, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Is that where the pregnancy test is from?
Yes.
Really?
So, yep, that's the pregnancy test. Because so they would have met up, and she would have revealed to him that she's pregnant, and he would have been freaking out or whatever, and she would tell him that he's not the father; it's Superman. So that was supposed to be in this movie. In the original Zack Snyder's Justice League, he wanted to put in this affair that they had, and DC said, "Get the fuck out with that. You're not doing that."
That might have been a bridge too far.
Exactly. And they said, absolutely not. That it was cut out. Right. However, they did have that shot of the pregnancy test, I guess, just in case.
They still had the seeds planted.
Exactly.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So by the end of that movie, Justice League 2, the Legion of Doom would have beaten the Justice League. They would have found the anti-life equation. The Riddler would have been the one to solve it, because that's what he's good for.
Thing, yeah.
Apparently, he would have solved it and then killed himself in front of Batman instead of revealing it to him, which is pretty heavy. Very, what's that show? Sherlock. You see that show?
No, but I've heard it's really good.
It's good up until a point, and Moriarty kills himself to prove something to Sherlock.
To prove something?
Yeah. It's real weird.
Okay.
But anyway, by the end, they would have called Darkseid. And Darkseid would have boom-tubed over to acquire the anti-life equation. Lex Luthor would have sent Darkseid to the Batcave because he knows who Batman is. He knows he has the mother boxes. Darkseid would have gotten there, killed Lois as Superman arrives. So that scene we saw, because he would have personally fried Lois Lane in front of Superman and Batman. And that's when he uses the anti-life equation to take control of Superman. Yep.
And that's where this whole nightmare scenario starts.
Yes. So, and that would lead to a 5-year time gap into Justice League 3.
So the movie would have ended with Lois dying and Superman being taken.
Yep.
Ooh, it's very...
It's back to being bleak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very ballsy. It'd be a ballsy ending to a movie. Very Empire Strikes Back.
Yes. Justice League 3 would be set 5 years later, and that's the nightmare reality that they're living in. Also dead would be Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and Cyborg would have barely survived. They would rip him in half.
Would they have been just killed off screen during the 5 years? They just wouldn't be in the next movie?
No, we saw them die in this movie.
Oh, they would get killed. Well, I mean
that would have happened in Justice League 2.
Okay. All right.
So Aquaman getting stabbed, everyone getting Omega beamed. Okay. And then they had that big funeral for Wonder Woman. In the nightmare sequence, which is Justice League 3, it's Mad Max, basically. And they're kind of in hiding. Yeah. They've also recruited other people, like Deadshot. So Will Smith's Deadshot would have been in it.
Was he supposed to be in that reshot scene?
I don't know. So that's one of the things where he was in these notes that he would have played a part in these movies, and they would have given him a kryptonite bullet to use, since he's Deadshot. Right. He would have nailed Superman.
That actually makes sense.
It makes sense for his character, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's one of those things where, maybe in a perfect world, he would have been in that reshoot too, but he's Will Smith and he's expensive, right?
It's very expensive.
So in this world now, in Justice League 3, Cyborg would have built the Cosmic Treadmill, which is from the comic books, where Barry Allen would use to travel through time by running super fast in. And their idea is to time travel back in time to fix this, right? But, which is actually a really good mechanism here, they can only time travel for a few seconds on a specific date and time, and it has to be the same date and time of the year.
That's interesting.
Because they travel through space and time. So by time traveling back, if you go to a time where the Earth isn't in the same place, you won't land on Earth.
Okay, so they actually put thought into it.
I think it's pretty interesting. It's a mechanism we haven't seen before, or it's a mechanic we haven't seen before. So they only get a few seconds of time travel. So it means the only thing they can do is inform themselves about how to change the future. Yeah. So in one version of that, it's the BVS thing where they go back, where he goes back in time.
Lois is the key to everything.
And he says, "Am I too early?" And he's like, "You have to find us," because he realized he got there too early. And
doesn't even know
Justice
who
League
the
hasn't
fuck
been
he is
formed.
yet.
He's like,
Yeah.
you have to find us. Lois is the key. And that obviously didn't work. So they try it again. And they do it a couple different times, which is why the Joker references how many alternate timelines are you going to create? How many alternate realities before you, like, you can set this right or whatever it is that he says.
Yeah.
So the plan is they're going to go back. Again, Superman is evil. And he's hunting them down. And the plan is go back in time and tell them to get Lex Luthor. But before they do it, Bruce stops Barry and he's like, you can't say that. It's not going to work. He's like, why is it not going to work? He's like, because I was already trying to get Lex Luthor and it didn't work. Like, that didn't get us anywhere. Yeah. So you can't say that. Say this instead. And he whispers in Barry Allen's ear or something. And then they have like a whole fight, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's dying. Superman finds them, kills them all, basically. Barry gets to get on the treadmill, goes back in time, and he gets to that moment where Lois Lane is telling him that he's not the father. Lois leaves, Flash arrives, time travels, and he tells Bruce Wayne what Bruce in the future told him to say, which was, Lois lied, you are the father. And then that makes Bruce Wayne act. And so when Darkseid arrives, he doesn't kill Lois, but instead he hits Bruce. Superman arrives in time to fight Darkseid off. Bruce is alive, Lois is alive, Bruce is mortally wounded though, and then they have a huge Lord of the Rings style epic battle. Everyone's there, very much like the one earlier in this movie, and they fight Darkseid and they win. That's how Justice League 3 would have ended. Batman would have died in that battle, and then they would have cut 20 years into the future. The kid is Batman's, but Superman raises him.
So Lois did lie.
Yes. And that kid ends up becoming the next Batman, apparently. 20 years in the future.
Okay. That's not like a downer of an ending, which is what I was expecting.
There's a lot of downer in between.
Yeah.
So I hate this. I hate that idea. There's a lot of stuff I really like. I like the Mad Max future stuff. I like the time travel stuff because it's a time travel mechanism we haven't seen before, like I said.
I don't like that all of it hinges on Lois and Bruce.
Okay, so Man of Steel BVS was, we've said this, you drag Superman through the mud for a long time. And then finally you get to realize Superman. And then you're going to make him evil. But first, you're going to make him a cuck. Like, fuck that, man. Like, he's gone through enough.
He's not a cuck if he died.
No, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like, I don't like that love triangle idea. I would be okay with it if it was one of many different alternate realities that they kept on stumbling into. And on this reality that they created, they formulated a relationship or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't like having evil Superman for an entire movie because that's not what I want. And that's not what people want either.
That's what a lot of people do now, though, with Superman.
I think people are getting tired of that with Injustice games and then movies, and there was a animated movie that was similar.
That's like the go-to Superman plot now, though. Is Superman's evil.
That's what I'm saying. So I think there's ways of making this, but I think it needs to be tweaked a lot. You know, again, I don't like the cuck thing. I'm okay with the time travel stuff. All sounds great. Again, like I said, it's not a mechanic we've seen before, but I think maybe you can do something like this if by maybe halfway through the movie you do a time travel, and it results in Superman not being evil, not being controlled by Darkseid, but instead, like, he's part of the team in the second half of the movie or something.
Oh yeah.
And it explains why Batman has a gun now and he's murdering people left and right because he's so dead set on time traveling that none of that matters. Like, killing people is completely non-consequential.
Doesn't mean anything because I'm going to fix it all.
Exactly, because they're doing all this time travel stuff, so that's why he's like, fuck it. I have a gun. I'm shooting people. I'm basically putting them out of their misery. We're going to go back in time and we're going to save them. That's why he's using the gun. I think it'd be interesting because you would have Superman there kind of playing off that, being like, you're still killing people. We need to do things differently. But Superman would be depowered because if he showed up, then he maybe would attract Darkseid's attention or the Parademons' attention. So they have to do things low key without Superman doing anything, basically. I think that could be interesting. But don't make Superman evil the entire movie, is all I'm saying.
I agree with that because I'm also tired of the evil Superman thing.
It's just a downer. Like, I like that character. Don't make him evil the whole time.
I like seeing him being like a beacon of hope.
Exactly. And it's great that this movie did that. This movie did it more successfully than the last two.
Yeah.
And it's the little things. It's them talking about Superman. You know, like Barry's like, he's my hero. And you believe it because he's a kid. He's like younger than us supposedly in this movie.
He's like, yeah.
He's in his early 20s or something.
Yeah, college student.
Yeah. So you would believe that by the time he saw Superman for the first time, he was like 18, 19 and is very impressionable, and everyone talks about him so well in this movie that it works better than, you know, just saying, oh, he's a beacon of hope.
Even in like Shazam, they talk about Superman as if he's like this.
Yeah. It works better like that. Anyway, that's what those movies would have been. Again, hopefully they get to make them, but just not
Sounds
exactly
like it would have been a little
that.
messy.
I would love nothing more than for this to continue being popular, change AT&T's mind, change Warner Brothers' mind, and makes some. It doesn't have to be this what we just read, but make some sequel to this. Make this your jumping off point. Yeah. You know,
like this is the movie that we deserved and that we needed.
Yeah, seriously. So you got anything else?
That's about it. Watch this movie if you get the chance to. Just give it a go. I know it's a long one, but honestly, like, the improvements are insane.
Yeah. That's our review. We will do the 2017 theatrical cut of Justice League as a regular episode. We're going to do that probably next week. But that's it for our review. Again, we did bonus episodes on Man of Steel and BVS. And that's pretty much it for us. You got anything else? Yeah.
No.
Cool. So other than that, thank you guys for listening. Thanks to that piano dude for our musical intro. Make sure you guys leave a rating and review. Make sure you tell a friend. You can find us on Instagram at Films from the Phantom Zone. And you can find us on Twitter at Films from PZ. All these episodes go up on YouTube. If that's how you like listening to podcasts, then there you go. But that's it for us. Other than that, we will see you next week. Berto?
See you guys.
All right, bye.